CS enthusiasts, welcome back to Pinnacle Cup number 3. We are in our main Swiss and our last game of the day to be presented to you. It's going to be Finest versus 4glory. And, well, Crapman, Finest have had a couple shakeups recently.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. And Finest, they've not really had a set roster for about a year. They've been umming and ahhing with different players of different nationalities. They had Rocking for a bit. They went to Solo for a bit as the coach. Then they went to Morelzi. That didn't work out. Then Mar came on. Then Mar left. And then there was the Brazilian Riggy. He stood in for a bit. Metzol, of course, he was on there for a while back in the early days before he then left. What I'm getting at is the only man who's been on this team for a while is Anarkes, who's been there for 8 months. For Pleasant and Twist, they've been here the grand total of 13 days. So this is going to be interesting from Finest. A lot of this is going to have to come down to, I'm just going to say aim, because 13 days is not a lot of time to practice. Over on 4glory, of course, the Serbian team, this is a little bit, honestly, a little bit similar, because Impulse, what he has had standing in for this team, he's never been set playing for them. Same for Dimki. Both of them added about 3 months ago, and they've been kind of playing since then, and they've had some pretty decent results so far in the Pinnacle Cup. They're undefeated. Over on some previous tournaments before that, they had a good run in the major qualifiers where they ended up losing to the team that ended up qualifying for the major. So the reality is these teams are going to be fairly closely matched here, and while Finest having only really got players for about 13 days, while on paper that would put them at a disadvantage, that's sort of leveled out by the fact that on paper they are still better individually.
Yeah, Pleasant and Twist, definitely not inexperienced players to add to the roster. Twist formerly, of course, of Ninjas in Pajamas. But over on the side of 4glory, like you said, a team on the rise, having lost out to a team that made it to the major, which is not the worst place to be falling. This is definitely part of the real evolutionary flowchart we're expecting for 4glory. Let's have a quick look at our map vetoes. We're expecting quite a pubby one here, so Dust 2, not really a huge amount of surprise, but a little bit of strategy required. Mirage, definitely more pubby.
Yeah, Dust 2 actually is quite pubby. I think Dust 2 Mirage Overpass are the pubby maps. Ancient being our decider, and this is about as polarizing a veto as you can get.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Dust 2, Finest are kind of bad at, and 4glory are kind of good at. Over on Mirage, Finest are kind of good at it, and 4glory are kind of bad. You head over to Ancient, and it levels out about 50-50 each way. But these first two maps, I suspect we're seeing a third map. That third map's going to go to like quintuple overtime. But the first two maps, they're going to be like 16 threes.
Yeah, these first two maps might be a little bit speedrunny. This might take about the same time as a 2-map series, but be a 3-map one. We'll see if our teams can really cover up their weaknesses that we have seen displayed on other maps. I imagine that on the side of Finest, of course, they're going to have Pleasant and Twists really trying their best to make the most out of the pubby methods of playing Dust, even if Finest previously haven't played this map a huge amount. I'm trying to see if they have had any. They haven't actually had any maps on Finest with on Dust with their new roster. So it's a fresh approach at least, and maybe that will make them slightly less terrible at it.
Something to highlight is Collins right now. Individually, he is categorically the best player on the server. The only stat which he's sort of lacking in is ADR. But when you're the entry, your ADR doesn't really matter. And bear in mind, of course, that both Collins and Impulse they do not hesitate about picking up that AWP. Impulse particularly, if you go back far enough, back when he was on Endpoint, he was always on an AWP at that point, whether it be primary or secondary AWP. He was always AWPing. So now 4glory have that kind of extra notch to their belt. I'm going to be really interested to see if Finest, particularly either Twist or Anarkes, are going to be able to stop that.
It's going to be a very interesting one. If you want to be placing some bets on this, if you're 18 or over and you're doing it in a fun and safe environment, you should consider our partners over at Pinnacle. They're very good for betting, and they'll give you good odds on all the CS matches that are happening, including, of course, this one. So thank you, Pinnacle. Very cool.
Very cool and kind of good. Pinnacle. They are wonderful people who have made this whole thing possible. It's called the Pinnacle Cup for a reason. However, Harry, that's enough yammering about how awesome Pinnacle are. We can take a moment to look at how awesome this game is about to be. Moving on to Dust 2, the odds for our partners at Pinnacle are actually rating Finest quite heavily in this series, and we'll see if that kind of play comes into play, particularly on this opening map. If Finest make Dust too close, then Mirage is going to be a stomp.
That's what we've come to expect. Remember, Finest have not played this map in about a month now, and definitely not with their new roster. Someone's got a black screen. Not sure if that was a counter flash or if someone's DC'd, but we'll probably find out in a little minute.
Early aggression and long here. Set CT smokes go down. I can think CT smokes means that no one can peek through the gap in it. But for Finest, they've already got 3 players set up on A, and with a deep hold from Kreese onto short, they know that every single member of 4glory right now are close to this smoke. It all comes down to the element of surprise.
And here comes the surprise. Happy birthday. Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
It's a very short birthday. 4glory here. Almost completely slaughtered. But it does come down to a 4 versus 2. Still winnable, admittedly. Impulse falling low. And having to duck away now as AVN. Be able to get that reload. Shocks walks away with 4 kills in the round. A little bit of a pistol monster.
Little bit of a pistol monster, Harry. And my heart kind of goes out to 4glory there. They had a great setup. They were in the right position at the right time. They get up to close to their smokes, about to hit the site with every player left alive, and they just melt. It's like the first 3 bullets from Finest were all headshots on 3 different people. So, solid round from Finest. And I mean, hey, you're on your opponent's map pick. You're on one of your least favored maps, period. In fact, your least favorite map, period. So, being able to take your pistol round, being able to get that early momentum would really spell success for them.
3 MP9s. Definitely expecting 4glory to go for the full eco here rather than any manner of force. Of course, I didn't get the bomb plant, so that's the most likely. AVN going to be caught out early. Look at the crossfire there. Mid dominance established. The player that was creeping over to B through dark. Demolished. And now the only player who remains is too far away. Twist gets that kill with the SMG. That's going to make Finest very happy bunnies.
That they are. Now, Harry, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history about these teams. In order to get
I'll settle in, brew up a cuppa.
Get your pipe, snuggle up by the fire. Because let me tell you a story about a 4glory side who came into this, came into the Pinnacle Cup 3, wide-eyed, excited, and they go to their first game against GamerLegion. They stomp it. 16-8, 16-8 on both maps. But bear in mind, that's the debut of this roster. They absolutely decimated it. Dimkey taking a lot of early damage. All of these players taking damage as they got from long here. Look how low on HP they are.
And that means that a Molotov is able to finish off Lindo still. Now it's come down to a 2 versus 2. And this is very uncomfortable for 4glory because they've invested very heavily in this round. It's rare we see on a full buy such a, I'm going to say ham-fisted rush with the old AKs. Knowing that on these close angles, you're expecting to see 2 or 3 SMGs at least.
They're absolutely right, 4glory. Outside of long, prepare a wraparound to A. And for Shocks, I like how they've repositioned Anarchez. They put the low HP player on the least likely site, allowing Shocks, M4 in hand, bear in mind he's got utility to play with as well, to either make a plant costly in terms of HP, or better still, get a man advantage.
Rattle of the smokes will announce intention from 4glory, and of course you can tell that both of them are here because of the simultaneous popping of those smokes. So it's a process of elimination is all that's required. He attempted a frag grenade there and he gets a touch of that, but Anarchez round the back and they get to pick up an AK. It's a 1 versus 1 for Impulse and Shocks has plenty of time here.
Oh, I like this read.
To go for a long wrap around, this is great. Impulse seems to have some inclination of it. Knows that, hey, this engagement's taken a while. There's a way that Shocks could have come into this, but the running peak from Shocks is just a confounding dude. He's got speed, he's got power, but 4glory don't have any points.
I'm going to dub this the Kachow peak.
The Kachow.
We spoke about how GamerLegion got destroyed by 4glory in their opening game. Finest, they did something a bit worse, Harry. Or maybe better, depending on your perspective, where they 2-0'd Sinners. 16-12 the first map, so you think, okay, maybe a close series. Map 2, Mirage was a 16-4.
I mean,
16-4 Sinners.
There's also the juicy drama there of having, I don't know whether Sinners kicked their players or whether they were stolen by Team Finest, but That's where Pleasant and Twist came from.
Yeah.
Now they've just topped their old team.
Yep.
Thanks to the players, boys. Now get out of my Swiss stage.
Go on. Off your son. I don't want anything to do with you.
I've got everything I need from you. Oh, and Dimkey got everything they need from Pleasant. Potential to be overwhelmed here for Shock. Sure, they get one, but up against this rush with the MAC-10s, this was supposed to be a bit more of an advantage for Team Finest. And, well, if we know anything about 4glory just yet, Kremer, is that these guys, they are very much Piston Cup competitors.
How many references are we going to get in today, Harry?
I don't know enough about cars to get more.
Oh, right, okay.
I gotta give it a rewatch, man.
We've made so many references to it, and you still haven't rewatched it.
Yeah, that's true.
I've
just been reliving it constantly whenever we cast CS.
Yeah, your lack of dedication to the cause is disappointing, to say the least.
I'm in the trenches, man.
He's going to be able to hunt.
Oh, no way you lose to the MAC-10 there. Oh, crazy.
Yeah, that's very messy. And 4glory, they actually just stay on the site. They all take so much damage in the process, though. Luckily, it don't matter. 4glory, they put themselves on the board with their first Team Finest. They can afford to reinvest. No dramas, mate.
No dramas. Oh, and they only lost the MAC-10s as well, which were rushing as a duo, trying to make some entries happen. So overall, this is still a fairly solid buy for 4glory. And Team Finest, they haven't been tested too much, but this is going to be one of the real breakpoints when it comes to who's going to be able to buy again. 4glory have a little bit in the bank, but they'd love to be able to steal away that AWP from Anarchist.
You're absolutely right. Grease, look at this deep flank impulse. He doesn't expect it at all. What a position for Kreese here.
Big power position. Oh, no trigger discipline, though. Won't be able to save a second. However, kills a kill. Kreese gets a second. Kreese just keeps taking 1 versus 1s, and they keep giving them to him. But look at this. The backstab coming round through the T-spawn. Kreese suspects it's a Pleasant here on the cover. Can't win up against Dinky. And AVN now notes that Kreese is here, playing on the head glitch, jumps on up, takes their head off, but suddenly AVN is alone. The big flank, a trio of 1 versus 1s, was given to Kreese, and Kreese took each of them with vigor and with brutality.
AVN's making it a little bit costly. It's definitely challenging his opponents here, but unfortunately, damage may not matter. Particularly when 4glory, they don't have cash. They're at a stage where damage, hurt your opponent's economy doesn't matter if they're buying next round regardless. So AVN drops down to lane here. Anarchist, does timing favor him? You could hand AVN this clutch if Anarchist doesn't clear it.
Oh no. Oh, okay. Woo! That was anybody's game right there. I'm surprised that Anarchist was playing that so close when they had the unconventional, like, I don't even know what that area is called, where the second player was hiding. We never see it used.
That's true, it's true. Some people call it lane, some people call it suicide. It was kind of dubbed that term because to run down that back before the update to the doors was suicide.
Oh no, not where AVM was, where the CT was hiding in the back of the quad opposite double doors.
Oh, barrels is usually the term.
Yeah, I've never seen that used in any CS game we've cast.
It usually doesn't have to be. I guess you could refer to that round as easy Kreese.
It was kind of easy Kreese.
Yeah. 4-1 the score line, and for 4glory, the fact that they're being killed when, as you mentioned, outside of long by barrels, they're getting punished, heavily punished, and they're trying to hide. Fighters still they're apex predators right now. They're hungry.
All right, a touch less speed now, for 4glory. Caution is demanded, but oh, what a nade! Dimka and Collins blown away. Smoke is solid. Anarchist. Oh, hello. Doesn't take the shot there on Dimke. Maybe it's considered cleared. Will Kindo fall into the trap here? No, it's Placid who's on the fire, so they might not suspect that the AWP is here. And the AWP now is going to move through CT to cover long.
Glory. They sit currently spread out around mid, awaiting the challenge of Finest. And Finest, a massive change in pace, considering how aggressive they were last round. This round, they've dug into their sights, they've sat back. They've got Kreese, once again, who's looking to just Kreese his way out along. But in doing so, does timing favour him?
Oh, he's Kreesing. Here he comes. Colin suspects it. Kreese moves into the crosshairs. And you know what?
How does Kreese get that kill?
They get one, and in the meanwhile, the rest of Team Finest explode. They take their fights. Blesson, though, drops the ball against Kindo. And so Shox now needs to be careful not to be overwhelmed. Has to look in two directions. Can only look in one. And won't even win the fight against the second. Plant cancelled. That's the round right there. And Finest, they survive with the AWP. The AWP hasn't even taken more than one shot yet. All it did was finish that previous round. And now for Glory, have to go for an eco again. And you know what that means, boys? Ka-chow.
That all right now is minimal wear, Harry.
True.
Yeah. Granted, modern ballistics are insane.
As eBay would call it, factory new.
No, not factory new because they fired it. But like with modern ballistics, you know they can tell what gun a bullet came from because there is no perfect threading on a barrel, and so they can tell from like the slight like imprint of the rifling which gun the bullet came from. Is it absolutely bonkers how that's possible? Collins looking to chow his way through mid. Pleasant ready for it though, and well, it's an eco, Harry. It's to be expected.
1 HP though, kind of fumbled their door there. That was an extended door through the door. And admittedly, 1 HP is not dead. You heard it here first from a casting scientist.
Thank you, Harry.
So Kreese will survive.
I am going to have to ask you, do you have any scientific data to back that up? Because we can't go without citation here.
Citation is needed. I'll get the dissertation out by the end.
Thank you very much. I don't mean to make your life hard, but we can't go around spreading false information. As for Glory, they prepare once again for long control. Historically, this has not worked for them, but the reality is not much has worked for them in these last couple of rounds. Impulse actually backing off after the molly on top mid. Annikez, I wants the shoulder peek. Oh, timing doesn't quite favour them though.
Now the AWP is revealed over in mid. A fresh smoke to try and separate Annikez from the action. And now the move. Down Cat. And over towards A. However, Kreese has been lost elsewhere. That was a door that was going down double doors, if you can see on the minimap. Blesson's going to reinforce where Kreese previously stood. Oh, that's a lovely shot from Annikez.
And it is. Dimka falls. And now look at 4glory. They've just completely stagnated. They've given up short. Actually, mid was our real intention. That was really what we were trying to do. As they're going to throw that CD smoke. Now, Finest speed-hold hasn't been great. They have been losing players fairly consistently here. And 4glory, they may have out-isolated that weakness. Question now is, though, can they punish it?
Split in two. Our team Finest, but Twist expects it. Playing from behind the car. I know a Citron Saxo is deadly, but this is the worst one yet. And now only two remain. A rifle and an AWP. For either side. What? No way. That is absolutely criminal. Annikez from one side. Blesson from the other. The new boy and the old boy. Impulse should be an easy kill here, and indeed they are. And Kremer, I've got that dissertation you ordered. You want to hear it?
Wonderful. Yes, please.
Kreese was living, but you in the chat can live your best life by buying products from our partners over at MSI. The manufacturers of 360Hz monitors, high-tier motherboards, and laptops that won't fail you when you need them. MSI are pretty good. Thanks, MSI.
MSI are indeed pretty good. I believe the I believe the technical term is pretty pog. As
at least 70% poggers.
I have to hear back from Control for this.
I'm going to have to talk to a chief about this.
Yeah, about 70%.
Call in Nuke.
70%
we need some citation on the level of poggers.
I quite like the green screen they had for 4glory there. And fun fact about 4glory, by the way, is these guys... It's not even a green screen! That's just a banner they have! That's awesome! I was going to say, fun fact about 4glory is these guys have their own house in Serbia, in an area called the Gaming Village, which is a place being made to be turned into like an esports haven, essentially. And they have Ground Zero. That's where their offices are. And for Team Finest, now with a... Well, they don't have the luxury of being in one room. These 4glory aren't going to be tilting anytime soon.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Team Finest. They've got some players that have only been here for 13 days. Even if they had the house, there would be no time to move, Kremer. Moving out here, Collins. We know this guy is a very confident entry, but Team Finest have been doing their best to shut this down for now. And it's far more reserved positions at the moment from Team Finest. They're continually swapping up the tempo to make sure that when Kreese gets these flanks, it's always a surprise. It's never twice in a row. And Team Finest, we've got to remember, we consider this to be a 4glory gimme in the map veto. The map veto shook out where Team Finest should get slapped, 4glory should get slapped, and then we'll have a game on map 3.
Yeah. This is looking... This isn't what we scripted. This isn't what we had planned. Anika's flash off the angle, but it doesn't matter. Anika's doesn't need vision.
Ooh, Kreese? Asleep at the wheel there, and now Anika's surrounded by 4. Okay, the Spartans at Thermopylae must try and defend the Grecian Isles, but I'm afraid that the Persians are just rolling in.
I will admit, Thermopylae would have been a very different battle if the Spartans had AK-47s and high-powered sniper rifles. You know how I was looking at the AWP in CS, and you know how I don't like dual Berettas? Yes. I don't like the AK in CS, because the AK-47 in CS isn't an AK-47, it's an AKM. Do you know what they've done with the AWP?
What's an AKM? An AKM is actually a pro player in Overwatch previously, but no one cares about that.
I think the gun came first. An AKM is a gun.
Oh.
And so the AWP in CS, you head over to CSGO's own wiki, and it says that the AWP in CSGO is chambered in 338 Lapua. Or 338 Lapua Magnum, which makes the AWP an AWM.
Ooh,
unplayable.
Do you want an AKM fact?
Yes, please.
So the pro AKM over in Overwatch actually...
I was hoping for gun fact.
No, I don't know anything about the gun.
Oh, okay.
But the pro AKM has a unit of time named after them, after it took them an entire game to build up their ultimate, called the AKM Blade. And it's about 3 minutes and 48 seconds. Which, for all of you guys who obviously don't play Overwatch, that's very, very bad.
Thank you, that one, Harry.
So now things can be measured in AKM blades. I think there's actually a website that will measure like a time in AKM blades.
There's a you can measure how long a player is on a team in CS by how many FNSs they were.
Oh, is this your custom time?
Yeah, because FNS was on, I believe it was, I actually don't know what team it was, and he was on there for like 13 days.
Oh, same as Pleasant and Twist.
Let me see if I can find it.
They've been on Team Finest for 1 FNS. Is that the same FNS who now plays Valorant for Envy?
Potentially. Where was it?
I'm not sure why I'm not talking while you're looking this up. Really dropping the ball here. 4glory.
Yeah, you are, Harry. That's okay.
Looking down long, I'm just here like, yep, this information will be delivered any second. It's 4 versus 3. Team Finest. They still have Anarchist here on the AWP. The reinvestment that was bought at the Team Finest economy. Very low AVN with the backstab here has got the information as to where people are looking. And so they call over 4glory, who still have 30 seconds. Plenty of rotation time to come over here. And then when they rotate it through, AVN can play this 90 degree. It'll be very hard to lose it, but they're getting a little bit impatient.
All pleasant. Where about they've got a player with suicide as well, so crossing a mid is just going to be tough. But AVN, if he overextends it, it's over.
AVN. Oh, they're impatient. They want it. But they find Pleasant disengaging, hoping for a save. You ain't saving nothing, boy.
Anakin still has an AWP, so you've still got some serious stopping power on Team Finest. My interest, though, is going to be why Twist is peeking the AWPer. Why would you...
Why would you do this?
The fact they're peeking that those doors at all, bearing in mind that you desperately need these AKs. Look at that, man. It's not great. The fact you're fighting at all is impressive.
Why would you do this? Who's responsible? Anakez, beautiful shot right there. Risks taken. And risks rewarded. They say shut up, Kremer. But that's okay, Kremer. I like hearing your voice.
Thanks, man. For now, there's a it's going to be a different position for Team Finest, where having lost 2 in a row, they now have no money. They desperately need this AWP on Anakez, potentially on Twist if he's feeling a bit aggressive, but mainly the AWP to get an opening and get it fast. The entirety of 4glory kind of setting their gaze to B makes me think that if they get an opening on, say, the player crossing, then they just head straight to the B site, because that B site has been where all of their success has come from. Well, one round where they got a bit lucky when it came to aim duels on long, but for Team Finest, this B site has proven to be their weak point.
A CZ on a cheeky angle. This can tear through someone who's unprepared. And so here comes the entry. Shocks the first for CZ. Running low on bullets, and guess who's gone high? Dimka slaps down from above. You spicy boy! And Twist continues for Spice for Scoville meter. Currently is being very much populated. Plusen tries to be Anarchist shot. Doesn't quite work out as well this time, but coming in from 2 separate angles, this could be a very solid pinch. Interesting that they're going to smoke off their own...
I like that. 4glory aren't going to expect anyone to be behind the smoke now.
Ah. Big tactics, big tactics. And there it is, Twist penetrates through the smoke. Why are they moving through the smoke that they laid? That's the question that needs to be answered. And the only answer that Twist needs is, I'm just better, baby. The ninja really in pajamas escapes from the smoke.
I love that. I absolutely love that play. The only other time I see that used quite often is over on Banana, where if you smoke, if your player's playing in front of half wall, they smoke top Banana. Players don't expect the player on half wall. That's the only real time you see that sort of that baited false negative from a smoke landing in front of a teammate. Really, really nice stuff there. And I love how they intentionally throw it really deep as well. So there's only so much angle you can see at once. Team Finest, another huge push, a huge commitment to lower tunnels here. But that's foregone. That's absolutely foregone long control.
8-3 now, Team Finest. Do we know anything about how much they prefer their CT side here? Well, not that they like playing Dust at all. Only once out of the 5 times they've played it in recent memory. But they haven't played it at all with this roster. And it's fair to say the new boys, Pleasant and Twist, not doing too poorly thus far. As I say that, Pleasant immediately gets destroyed. But wait, what? Dimka, did they just kill... Hello?
Yes, they did.
Trust nobody. My job is to kill the bus driver.
AVN. Gonna try and get up from ramp here. Kreese removes the only flank and kind of main option that 4glory had for winning this round. Leaving Impulse at a 1v3. Tries to cross the site. I think he was spotted by the CT player as he does so. The minutes to play with the bomb plant will help them economically. I mean, let's be honest, 4glory don't have cash right now. Is it enough?
Wait,
Impulse
what was that molly? They're only against one. They heard a plant and they put it out of the sight. An interesting choice from Team Finest, but hey, you do you, boo. I know you've got some weird tactics and they worked out before. Yep. The Asimovs are collected up, and that's going to be a defuse.
There's a world here where this goes to overtime, Harry.
Oh, don't say that.
Team Finest, they do have a big dependency on their CT side. Over on 4glory, though, it's about even. I want to highlight, though, is of the 5 maps that Finest have played on Dust 2, 4 of them went to overtime. So there's a world where this absolutely does go the whole distance.
I wonder if how many of them went to overtime was just, okay, looking really good on the CT side, followed by just absolute inactivity, kicked for AFK on the T side.
They're now at a stage where every time they end up getting a lead on their CQ side, they start worrying. Is it enough?
Not
Is it
again.
enough?
Not again.
It's 14-1. Tell me it's enough. But in this case, that's not even an option. Even a 12-3 may not be safe. However, I think essentially 10 rounds, I think, is the minimum Finest want here. And that's looking very attainable. For Glory, bearing in mind they just don't have cash.
Oh, one in the shoulder. Plessen the second AWP. Very much lane low for now. And mid will have to be reconsidered. In fact, it's going to be done by Anarchist.
Oh, what a catch!
On your head, love! Runs away through the smoke. Headshot. Wait, did that do 3 damage? Did it do more on a headshot? Does smokes have headshot hitboxes?
Yes, they do.
That's amazing.
Well, it would hurt more if I threw a smoke grenade at your head than at your, like, feet.
That's true, but I don't know if Gabe thought about that.
Well, you didn't think of naming the AKM properly, so
yeah, Gabe, what's up with that? Smokes have crit boxes, but there's no AK-47?
Yeah. Riddle me that, mister.
Riddle me this, Gabriel. Oh,
good for the first.
Plessen's riddles are deadly. And now Collins might be in a position where they can just try and get atop this AWP. Shots is noted, and Plessen has fallen. Impulse with the quick movement. The entry AWP. Built different, baby.
Ooh. How on earth did Kindo get that kill? Kreese just gets decimated. Twist now left in a 1 versus 4. And I want to quickly talk about kill distribution here for Team Finest. They are doing very well as a team. Bottom fragger on 10 kills, the top fragger on 12. You very rarely see kills spread that evenly. And it shows that every single player is pulling their weight. Every single player has firepower behind them. Over on For Glory, it's ever so slightly top heavy, and we'll sort of see the extent of that in just a moment. As Twist tries to save, they're just going to hightail it out of there. And it looks like that M4 will be held on to as we enter the penultimate round of this first half.
Team Finest, they would desperately like to finish this 11-4. God knows they need the breathing room. And again, maybe their T-side is different with the addition of Plessen and Twist. I'm ready for anything to happen here at the Pinnacle Cup, Kramer. We've had ourselves a couple of wild games. We've had ourselves a TK already. A smoke headshot.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever been killed by a smoke headshot in a competitive game?
There've been like contact kills, like flashbang kills, and like smoke grenade contact kills, but it won't say if it's a headshot.
Okay.
Hit by it.
I really want to see one of those.
It's very funny. They're essentially just ragdoll. Like...
I mean, I feel like getting hit by a flashbang would be much worse, like physically, because
as a flashbang goes off,
that probably would burn the heck out of you.
Yes, it would, but so would a smoke grenade.
True.
They're very much M18s, which is one they use. I don't know what chemicals they use, but if it's like white phosphorus, then you categorically want the flashbang.
I mean, maybe you can answer in the chat. Would you rather be hit physically by a smoke grenade or a flashbang? Welcome to CCT_REN. Make sure to follow the channel.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what chemical do they use.
Well, you can look that up. I'll play by play some slow rounds.
Thank you, Harry. I actually thinking about it, they actually just don't tell you because they don't want people making homemade ones. That makes a lot of sense.
It's okay, we have access to the information, but
another 180. Another 180 on short there.
No access to teammates. Sad times. 10-5 now will be the goal for Team Finest, but look at that money. $50 between the multiple players who have survived. No. Oh, Anarchist. He's managed to dodge past the AWP. Look at this. Anarchist, the one-man army, thinks he can do it all by himself, returns to a previously fled position. And remember, Anarchist actually has the most money on all of Team Finest right now at $300. He's a king amongst the paupers.
And he does have an AWP still. But
he's a king amongst the AWPers even.
It's a glass cannon, Harry. Which is a big problem because Glory, they've favoured their they've historically favored their util damage. And while AVN is definitely waking up in the latter stages of this first half, a 9-6 is not a good position to be in if you're Team Finest. With such a dependency on your CT side, you need this last round.
Tremor.
Yes.
Offer.
All right.
Could you call someone who buys an AWP, only body armor, and no utility because they are poor, a pauper?
I don't ever want to cast with you
again. That is reasonable and fair.
Perfect flashes along though. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work out. Another kill in mid here. Team Finest, they seem to be losing a lot of players over engagements in mid. Like, time and time again, it's just not worked out for them.
Backing off for a moment, Team Finest, they haven't really found the same kind of dominance since Kreese was doing Kreese things, to be honest. But now it's a much more reserved position, playing cover for Anikes, knowing that they can't allow for this AWP to be timinged.
This late short control as well is... It means Anikes has to rotate to CT. He can't risk the exit to B, because A site is categorically easier to retake. Unfortunately, the gamble for Finest just won't pay off here. This is going to be a really tough retake.
However, they will hear all this utility. So the jig is up, boys and girls. Moving over onto the side. Look at this, Anikes, so fast on this, takes damage for the exchange, and this means an upgrade for Kreese. That could be absolutely crucial. From the Deagle to the AK, a huge upgrade. Kaido will plant the bomb, but the money doesn't matter anymore. We're in the last round of the half. Anikes so low, shocks. Where are they going to come from when it comes to the MP9? Checking the back at the moment. Anikes tries to peek amongst the smokes. Look at this for glory. They're not worried about dying to a bomb. Impulse falls on down. Do you want to try and go to the same place where they fell? Stacked up are multiple members of For Glory as they spread on out, trying to take individual fights against Team Finest. And those individual fights are going pretty well at the moment. A swap over potentially to an AK is thwarted as Dimki is the last player surviving. And For Glory turn it into a 6-9. Nice turnaround.
This is a big, big problem. This is a huge problem, actually, if you're a member of Team Finest. You really needed that CT side to go well. And now at 9-6, look, as you mentioned, maybe the addition of Twist and Pleasant changes this. But right now, with such a dependency on your CT side, on paper, they're in big trouble. For Glory, they move their favored side, their CT side. It's not much more favored, but it's still favored. And as they look to defend low, let's see how this P250 of shots can open up.
Oh, that is not accuracy. Anikes, though, trying to make the most out of this P250. And Kreese may well have returned to prominence here. It's Collins who's going to cover where their comrades fell. Has the advantage of high ground. An HE to the shins. That one hurts, but more so does a USP bullet to the head hurt. And Anikes has found that out the hard way. A boost on up above the smoke. Seeing the crossing here. Pleasant takes down Collins and AVN. We asked if the addition of the Swedes would make the T-side better. No additional plant money, though. Sorry, lads. Team Finest, at least pick up the pistol round.
It's a step in the right direction, Harry. I still feel... I still feel unsure about how this T-side's going to pan out for them. That was laboured. Like, that was a laboured round. We saw messy engagements on long, over to Goose, then onto Sight. Categorically, that isn't something you want to repeat, particularly against Deagles, particularly against Scouts, who only needs to land 2-3 shots before you die. It looks like our poll, by the way, everyone says they'd rather be hit by a flashbang. I'm inclined to agree. A flashbang is like instant burn, whereas like smoke grenade that's going to burn for a really long time. So that makes sense.
Oh, an attempt at murder there. Your Honor, I didn't even finish him. Kaido did. And Kaido's getting plenty of money to play with here. And if you have plenty of money that you want to spend in online shopping, you should consider our partners AstroPay to make sure that you can pay privately, securely, and quickly at thousands of e-commerce sites online.
AstroPay are pretty cool, Harry.
They are. Pretty cool and pretty good.
Pretty good. Low HP on a lot of these players are For Glory, but there are a lot of them. Pleasant, good for the first, sees the second. Oh, can't quite get the third. All on Twist now. Full HP and a low HP Collins to try and duel. Start this clutch.
The buy up here, the foursome for glory rewarded, and they'll be able to grab an AK off the back of this. The bravery, realizing with Team Finest, that may have been a pistol round win, but it was still messy. And we can try and mess with their step even earlier with a force buy, heavily rewarded for their audacity.
I actually can't help but think that for Team Finest, they didn't have much trust in Kreese there. He peeks through CT, gets a kill, tags a second player, comms that second player is tagged. You've already got someone along fighting the player site, and Finest, they just stagnate. They smoke CT, which allows that for Glory player to stay alive. It allows the rotations to catch up, and Finest don't press the advantage, which is where for Glory we're able to capitalize. Impulse, a very early AWP investment as well, to try and challenge the force by a Finest here. With Kindo lurking in lower tunnels, the question is, did Anakin spot him on the cross?
Head armor for everyone but Plessin, who I believe probably bought that AK for shocks right there. Impulse might be forced to back off, but the coverage is good. Elsewhere, Twist is for first to be sent to that Stygian plane. As for Glory, once more, they consolidate their information game.
Finest, they stack up now, getting ready to assault this beast site, where AVN is the lone defender. There are two players in close mid who can go to pretty fast positions of support. But Finest to quick this execution, they won't get there in time.
AVN might have some trouble here against this much head armor, but it doesn't matter because Kindo's on the other side. AVN playing it patiently as you roll on out. They line on up, and it's kill after kill for the SMG that lies in wait. An upgrade to an AK thanks to the gift, boys, and I've got money to spare.
I really don't like that execution from Finest there. They're peeking before the smoke blooms. Sure, they kill Kindo, but it doesn't matter. You're then swinging, having killed a player in tunnels, you know for a fact that there is going to be someone on site somewhere. And well, they're punished for that assumption. Even though it's an eco, Impulse, it's a bit of an ego kill, isn't it, to start?
And not only that, as an AWP player, you've got to build up a little bit of a mythos of fear around yourself. To be able to effectively project zone control. Just getting those kills when, even if it isn't overall to the game hugely important, just making people feel very unsafe in their basic peaks. There's the cover. Kindo gets a pair, but oh, Anakez killed Shocks in the middle of all of this. Okay, Joker, calm it down. Anakez, there's a reason I've been on this team for 4 years longer than anybody else. It's because anyone who stands in my way dies.
For now, for Glory, with this should really be the start of the end for the Finest. Like, I'm talking about stats here. If that's how bad Finest 2-side is on paper, I believe it's a 30-something% round win rate. Like, it is. You're 32. It's hardly even scraping the 30s. Like, it is not a pleasant half. The Finest.
I mean, they couldn't even convert on their second round after the pistol.
Well, again, and that was a round that was almost handed to them, with for Glory being so low on HP. Pleasant. What is the smoke? Gets ready to rotate through mid. Impulse gets the opening. Kreese falls, and Team Finest now. The question becomes, what do you do next?
What's next for Team Finest? Sounds like a BBC at mid-afternoon news piece.
Yeah, as Collins finish again. Like, they go through mid without anything. Like, just without anything. They don't flash, they don't smoke, they're shoulder peeking everything. I mean, yes, it works for Shocks, but Shocks on one army. He's got Twist, and that's it. Against 4. And well, Twist still has some firepower. He's still got a plant.
Real flash.
Removes him from any fight.
Thrown away. Fake flash. Also sent. Get him, flash. Looking to do the additional damage, soften them up early with a direct hit. Speaking of direct hits, Shocks and Twist are giving you plenty. Twist, the new boy, but not at all new to CS. However, The 2 1v1s are taken, and both of them are easy for the Serbians.
That it is. Now, here's the thing. Finest, they are nasty at Mirage. Like, they are nasty at Mirage. Which is why the Pinnacle odds, despite us being level pegging, still favour Finest. But right now, for Glory, they go ahead, they win the 16-10. I actually think Mirage may turn out to be a little bit closer than what we initially thought. Bear in mind that, well, judging at least by how Finest have played the CT side, they may very well have the same T-side problems that they have on Dust 2 on Mirage, because the maps, they do play out very, very similarly.
And they're likely to be starting on the T side, given that 4glory didn't get to pick that map. So there might be a world where Team Finest on Mirage just are trying to grab themselves like a 10-5 half on the T side.
No, you're right. And I mean, it's with Mirage as well. It's got the same topography as Dust 2 in the sense that your sort of A execution is very shoehorned into either short execution or a long execution. You've got what is very heavy emphasis on mid control, and B being a hell of a site to take. That's pretty much the same map. Collins swings through the fire, does get an opening, tickled by the flames of the process. He'll walk that off, Harry.
However, now they are a touch more vulnerable to the Deegs. A pair of body shots now would put them in the ground. Skin upgrade? Never mind. Picking up a bit of utility. As Dimke. Oh, hello. This is cheeky. Kreese is already checking it, though. Oh, that's a shadow spotted. Easy game. Easy life. Dimke takes down Kreese. And now you've got 3 Deagles against the entire assorted armor. What? Anarchez. I'll show you how to AWP. And I'll do it with a Deeg. Collins in the back. Easy 2-piece. Anarchez still gets a feel-good frag, though. So 2. Does Plessen. Alright. Touch of damage done.
The Glory. They take their lead. Finest. This is... I mean... I don't want to say the start of the end, because I think the start's actually already gone. But they need to at least win 1 or 2 rounds here, just to not only break 4glory's momentum, not even for this map, break it for the Mirage. Because if 4glory go on what was a kind of 9-round win spree, they go to Mirage, they then end up winning the pistol round, they're going to be unstoppable on confidence alone. And for Finest, breaking that's going to be 10-fold harder than how it'll be now.
Flash sent out. Plessen. Not going to move alongside it for the moment. Hoping that it did clear the area, and indeed it did so. HE and Molly's expended. Everyone wants that little elbow cleared. Oh, hello, Twist. Gets caught by Collins on patrol. I'm going to need to see your papers, please, son. And that's going to be, once again, Team Finest. At a man disadvantage, even with Kaio fairly low. Dimke tucks into the pit, hoping to be flashed out here. There's the flash, there's the execution. The HG sent out as well. Ooh. Alas, shocks. We'll put them down for the moment. Keeping the numbers vaguely tied up. But now you have to go down long. Against the AWP shot, Anarchez has their own, and Impulse kind of got ego checked on the last one by the Anarchez Kachow peak.
Never underestimate the Kachow peak.
He is speed.
What is it that that chick Hicks does?
I can't remember. Is he the one with a mustache?
Yeah. he's got like all these NASCAR stickers on him. He's got this huge ass mustache.
AVM taken down by Kreese. This might actually be a win here for Finest. It's certainly doable. And it is even more so now. The AWPers traded out. In a 1 versus 1, Kindo battered and bruised versus Kreese, bloodied and cut. Oh. The bomb is planted just in time. Kreese had to hold it for flash here, but Kreese doesn't look around during it. Kindo could have easily grabbed that one, if not for the flash, but now they reveal themselves with the AK early. Even with the information, they still win it. Simply built different. Finest couldn't buy a win right now, but you can buy from any e-commerce site among thousands using our partners over at AstroPay for secure and anonymous payments.
My heart goes out to Team Finest there. I mean, that was their round to win, and for glory, even when giving their position away, like that shot that didn't hit should have been the death wish. Should have been the death wish of Collins. It doesn't matter. Converts it anyway. 12-10, and the 6th round win streak looks to just continue. Harry, I'm really starting to feel worried for the Finest.
I mean, Finest might get mentally broken before they even go to Mirage.
Exactly.
For glory are running away with it at the moment. And this, like we said, is a team on the rise. They lost to a team that went to the major, right? In a previous qualifier?
Yeah, Bad News Bears. Or Bad News Eagles, sorry, which was the old Blink roster.
Oh. Correct me if I'm wrong, they're Albanian, right?
Yes. I think one player's from Kosovo. Let me check. Oh no, they're all out, yeah, they're all from Kosovo, and one guy is Swiss.
Ah, yes. Interesting. The Glory, definitely a team looking to have a big debut. Come Monday, their ranking might be slightly different after this. Good timing from Pleasant. Kaido caught out, but Collins on the refrag there gets rid of Shocks. However, the B site here, almost entirely out of sorts. And this is going to be a tough retake for the Glory. If there's any round Team Finest can win, this would be it. It all starts in dark. Collins can't win out against Anarchists. They might not have their preferred weapon of the AWP, but they're doing just fine right here.
They keep nowhere near the retake. Back off. Saves the M4. Give you something to wield. I mean, hey, if he gets an upgrade to an AK, Swiss could very well hunt him here, but Dimkey appears to be relatively disconnected from the rest of the force. Not that that matters, though.
Does not matter in the end. Finest don't allow for the round deficit to become too overwhelming. As the odds from our partners over at Pinnacle maintain some preference for Finest at the moment. But I'm kind of feeling for glory, man.
Yeah, me too. Finest aren't really in a position where they can start really damaging for glory. Like, their money is air. The Glory don't have too good a buy, so this is actually, if there ever was a time for Finest to make a comeback and maybe to close out us too, now would be it. Unfortunately, the double up setup may prove to be a spanner in the works, as Kindo looks to at least keep him at arm's length for the time being.
Impulse takes the shot, backs off. Long smoke and a flash as well. Still, these double AWPs, they present a lot of threat. And that's why Anarchists wants to fight against them. What a flick downwards. Anarchists definitely has been a standout here. Full Team Finest. The longest standing member of the roster, and you can tell exactly why. AVN, for actually being touched in the smoke. He's being boosted on! Thanks, mate. That was real nice of you.
Collins and themselves.
You can't make it up.
Man, this is why we can't get sorry.
Do you reckon there was like some cops like, yo, boost me up here? They just like, they assume that that's like their teammate who's boosting them. Like that was always the plan, but it's just...
Damn, you got a position really quickly. The Glory. They back off. They hold on to these weapons. I mean, it gives them something to wield next round, but the reality is, Harry, for Glory have actually had their economy shattered. Finest looking to chow their way to equalize.
And Team Finest have decided that B site is theirs. They don't want to risk any more poggy retakes. So we might see a lot more over there.
Those round things are called wheels, and they go under the car. Man, G-Kicks had the best pit crew. They were great. Luigi, so Luigi and Guido, they were awesome. But yeah, they weren't really pros, were they? They just all showed up and did really well. For Glory, as they move into an eco, hoping their AWP does the majority of the damage here. M4's without that one-shot potential, you need your AWP to be the one to get the opening, keep players at arm's length, get the weapons to snowball with. And Pleasant, I mean, he's already kind of pieced together that someone's going to aggress through mid.
Oh, AVN with the USP. Yet to be punished. And softens his targets up for Kindo. Anarchist now simply does not have the fire rate. How has he got 2 with the USP? And now they've been able to upgrade over to the AWP.
Team Finest, that is such a fumble. That is, I don't want to say inexcusable, but they're better than that. They just didn't even clear their corner. They just didn't peek AVN. AWP gets killed on the cross. And well, Impulse finishes the job. For Glory, they eco Team Finest. They didn't even use the AWP. They didn't need it. AVN does it with a USP. No armor, no utility, no teammates. Team Finest just don't look at him. That was really... Finest have had some shaky rounds, sure. That was the first bad round we've seen, Harry.
Yeah, that was an SMH round. Team Finest, I think they might start going to be a lot more, but that kind of shakes the confidence when you get double fragged by USP in the corner.
Yeah.
That feels bad. That feels bad, man.
Once again, Collins trades Pleasant. As Team Finest, they back off for the time being. And look to actually go quiet on their long control.
Anika's hoping someone braves his scope. Tests him again. 24 and 14 at the moment. Flash sent out. Impulse. Oh, a beautiful execution. I'm my own assist, baby. As Kreese falls down and Impulse just smokes himself away.
AVN picks out. There's Shocks, and more importantly, there's the bomb, Harry. Once again for Glory. Looking to punish the almost broken economy of Team Finest.
Noise made here by Twist, and Kindo so bloody quick with those. Twist nailed to the wall. Modern art installations here in Marrakesh.
It's Dust 2, mate. Set in Marrakesh. I thought Mirage was.
Oh, that's true. It might be Mirage. I don't know as much about the CS lore.
To be honest, I don't think CS has much lore to it.
Oh.
Okay, so Dust 2 set in Morocco.
Ah, yes, it is.
So it very well could be Marrakesh.
Hmm.
And
are they both in Morocco?
Mirage doesn't actually have a confirmed location.
Well, that's because a Mirage is not real.
Exactly.
It's a figment of Gabe's imagination. What we're watching is Gabe Newell's dehydrated fever dream.
Is that what Gabe Newell dreams? Like, Mirage is what he dreams.
He dreams in gameplay mechanics, Kramer. Don't doubt a master.
Is that why his guns are wrong?
Oh, and this is why Valve will never like it.
I honestly, I can never work for a company that can't name an AKM properly, or an AWP properly, or makes you dual wield Berettas labeling them M92 FSs when they're actually M901s.
Let it be known, Valve, I am pro dual Beretta. He speaks only for himself.
If I ever get in a position where I could change something about CS, the dual Berettas are getting nuked. Like, they're actually getting ruined. Right, no, I'm spiking the ammo of dual Berettas. Anyone who uses them falls to half HP because they've blown one of them up the second they try and fire it. God, I hate dual Berettas, Harry. For Glory. They go for... Once again, they go for one of these hybrid stacks. It does ever so slightly favor this B site. Bear in mind, Finest have shown a preference for assaulting there, but instead, Finest continue this default. And what we've seen from Finest is they peek, take a bit of control, go quiet, fall back into the default, and then they do something. And for Finest, there's that short control. There it is. They back off, they fall back into the default. They're going to go quiet for a bit, and then they'll do something.
I like how 4glory here are kind of stacking the B site as well, knowing that, hey, we can get pretty easy retakes on A. Yeah. They're not the best at holding it down, so we'll just gather the info. Make sure that we have a better way of playing B.
I don't like how formulaic Team Finest are being, man. They got short control, there was the quiet, and there was the mid take. Like, it's the fact that we're able to, like, play along to the
fact that Kremer could call the strat.
Yeah.
And that I could understand it.
They get ready for their hit to be. Sharks gets the opening, sure, but AVN's already got a lurk in place. It's twice now he's used that position and got a kill from it. That's the glory. In a 2-on-2 retake for the B site. Now, actually, this does favor Finest. It's a pretty nice position to be in. However, the duel between President and Dimkey is really going to dictate how one-sided this turns out to be.
Oh, Kreese can't duel with Dimkey. And that was a quite exposed position that the first player was caught in there. The bomb is found. That would have been a weird way to lose the round. And that's going to be 4glory. Hitting match point as Team Finest, their money. It will be able to sustain another bye, but it will be able to sustain some messy rounds on their way to overtime.
Yeah, this isn't going to overtime. They are just being run amok right now. 4glory, they've moved to their favored side and they are just pummeling Finest. They have, sure, Finest, I mean, they've got a buy. AK's utility. No AWP. If we see Finest, take map control, go quiet, then do an actual strat, I'm going to be very upset, Harry.
Yeah, don't make Kramer feel silly. Like me, he has a very fragile ego.
It's true. Please don't say anything mean about us.
Oh, Twist disengages into the HE. Goodbye to your legs, son. You didn't need those anyway. Don't worry, prosthetics are coming along very nicely. Kinda. Gonna be able to hold a crossfire here across CT due to a lack of smokes put down thus far, but it isn't committed to just yet. Impulse takes the shot, then leaves. Covers their escape with the Molotov. And the smoke here is interesting. It's forced Collins in. And they are certainly a little bit feared of the land grab that could be coming. Kreese caught out early. And this could be the beginning of the end. Look how low Team Finest are already. No AWP in hand. Couple of AKs. Those are the only smokes that they had. And now Impulse can simply back away. Try and play this from afar. Maybe stop a bomb plant here or there. That's all they need to do. Play the objective. The economy doesn't matter too much. One round is what they need. And Pleasant has fallen down already. Anarchist, sure, they get the plant. But 3 players remain. It needs to be a huge performance from Shocks on this upper area. And indeed, it seems like it might be thus far. Down to only 2 for 4glory. But Team Finest need this to be strong. They need this to be perfect. And yes, they managed to find it. Can they grab the AWP? They can indeed. Team Finest not dead yet.
Yeah, not dead yet, Harry, but the fact is that there's 1 buy left on 4glory. This being the buy. This fails, Finest get overtime. But even if they get overtime, do they win it? I mean, they've really struggled on their T side. With 4glory, they've also shown flaws, yes, but it was their CT side was sort of won because Team Finest played badly, whereas their T side was lost because Finest played well. And for AVN, who sits on the other side of the smoke, he hopes Finest maybe even just try to shift through this. That early smoke may actually give him a spot of hope. Push into him.
Fresh angle, fresh AVN, dead Pleasant. And once again, that B-site entry is difficult. Anarchist spotted via the jeans. The denim has betrayed you. It worked for the Serbs all along.
AVN ready on the bait and switch. Tags down the first player. Low HP on Shocks.
Switch isn't even activated for a second, but there it is in the end. Collins making sure that's going to be guaranteed. Now Kreese holds the hopes of Team Finest in his hands, and unfortunately those hands are small. They can't hold anything. And that's going to be the map pick of 4glory, claimed mostly on the CT side.
Withdrawing with Astropay is really simple. Go to your favorite site and choose Astropay as withdrawal method. Then type the amount that you want to withdraw, type your mobile number, and click on the Confirm button. Now, enter your wallet with your usual credentials and your money is available in your wallet now. Decide if you want to extract money or buy on your favorite sites. Get the app in your favorite store or visit us at www.astropay.com.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back as 4glory take on Team Finest. We just saw a fairly hard slog through Dust 2, where 4glory were able to emerge victorious. It came close, but now we move to Finest's map pick of Mirage. And Harry, in the break, I was thinking a little bit. I would argue that Cars is probably one of the best series ever made. Probably better than Star Wars.
I mean, better than the sequel trilogy, I'll give you that. Here in the pistol round, it's all going the way of 4glory, as I try desperately to lower my blood pressure.
Just quickly thumping your heart a bit. Get a paper bag. But it is better, isn't it?
You know, no one saw the Hudson Hornet for 50 years.
Yep.
No one will find your body for 50 years.
Am I going to emerge as like some pit crew? And everyone's going to go, whoa! Is that old caster?
Your body's going to wash up like at a LAN. Like, whoa! No one's seen Grandma for 50 years. Used to go a bit.
It's just as fabulous as the Hudson Hornet did.
We expect 4glory to do pretty well here on their CT side. Team Finest are a pretty CT-focused collective. And it is going to be, of course, one kill already from the Glocks, which isn't too bad, taking down AVN at range here. Collins going to give it a risk and then slaps on down the members of Team Finest. Just all the odds from our partners over at Pinnacle. Now, very much favouring 4glory, even though there was a little bit of there was a belief that Team Finest could bring back Dust 2, and it was reflected in the odds for a while. Now that there is no clutch factor that's available on Dust 2, the map is done and Dust 2'd. The odds are very much looking like 4glory should be taking this.
Remember, Pinnacle, they're pretty good. If you want guaranteed odds on CS, they offer some of the best odds among the betting ecosphere, and with high limits, winners are always welcome. That's over at pinnacle.com/welcome or pinnacle.com/liveodds. Both of them work. Both of them from Pinnacle. Pinnacle, kind of good.
Very good.
Yes.
Collins. Oh, that's a well-timed molly right there. Keeps Plasson and Kreese at bay. And gives a little bit more space in mid for AVN.
Something we didn't highlight last map, which we probably should have, is these teams have played against each other before, and that was on Mirage and Dust 2. Dust 2 went in favor of 4glory 16-10, and Team Finest won Mirage 16-10 as well. 4glory, though, having won Dust 2 first, maybe that momentum is going to carry over on Mirage here with a 2-man advantage, 1-man advantage. Anakez, through the smoke, finishes off AVN with Dimkey going very aggressive here.
Anakez, he's on a bit of a mad one when it comes to smoke kills today. good game sense, can smell them. You know what? I was looking at Team 4glory's previous Mirages in the break. And you know what? They have not been playing too badly on Mirage recently, including, I believe, 2 16-8s in a row against GamerLegion. Yeah.
Maybe that momentum's going to start carrying through because they've just won their buy round, only losing 1 player. Having only lost 3 players in 3 rounds, their money's doing very damn well. Bear in mind that in all of these rounds, Finest haven't got a bomb plant. Their economy's starting to feel the pain, and as they drop down to pistols once again, it's just occurred to me, Harry, Cars also is better than CS, because what Cars do is, and this is really smart, is Lightning McQueen isn't a car in real life. They're not trying to imitate it. They made Lightning McQueen an amalgamation of like 2 or 3 different cars. And because of that, it's not wrong. It's not factually, it's just not wrong.
Okay,
CS,
this is about to get real weird, but do you think that means that in Cars there's like genealogy, like you have like a mum and a dad and you can like have a Porsche and a Toyota, like make a baby car? You end up with like some weird cross between a Lamborghini and a Toyota Hilux, and it's like a sports car with an MG on the back.
Do you remember the old I believe it's Pixar, the old movie Robots? And how that starts with them building the baby. Is that what they do in Cars?
That was DreamWorks. Upgrades, people, upgrades.
Yeah. Why be you when you can be new? Honestly, words to live by. He wasn't the bad guy in that. Great. Take that 1v5. Robots is another great film. Oh my god, is Robots... How does biology work in Robots as well? I was always wondering that. Because they mow grass and stuff, but why do they need grass if they're robots?
I mean, in robots, capitalism has superseded biology in terms of like the main societal driving factor. Really, it is a cautionary tale about the excesses of modern capitalism.
What I don't understand is the microphone at the end has a power cord, which threw me because I thought the power just sort of happened. It's just part of the magic, right? But if he has a power cord, how does every other robot in this kind of world get their power?
Now, Kramer, I'm gonna blow your mind here with a concept known as batteries.
How many batteries do they have?
Very power efficient.
Even the lampposts exist in robots. It's like, do the lampposts
you know that
like
lampposts get energy from underground cables, right? Like it just like in real life, they don't just exist.
No, because when Ruby Longbottom, it's Copper Bottom. That's it. She ends up when she makes the lampposts like pass out, they just fall to their knees. There's no cables or anything like that.
You're gonna make me rewatch Robots, and I hate you. I'd rather cast some CS. Let's have a look at what's happening here between Finest and 4glory. Anarchy is caught out on the timings by Collins. However, they're stuck in the connector for now. The Molly was behind them. An attempt at covering fire, but now the smoke is gone as well. Collins even more so stuck now, but Plessin doesn't look upwards. Kree's blown away by the HG. Sure, Collins loses their life, but considering the sticky situation that they were in, Team Finest have been made to pay dividends for this.
You're absolutely right, and something I want to highlight is in the rounds that 4glory are winning, they're not dying. Finest aren't doing any economic damage in the rounds they're winning. Yeah, it's a kill, sure, but this is what, 5 kills in 5 rounds? It's something like that. 4glory, look how well their economy is. Look how well established it is in just 5 rounds. Because Finest, they're just not damaging 4glory. And this is going from what is fairly, you can measure a close game. Like you could be 5-0 down and the game can still be close. This isn't. Like we're 5 rounds in and AVN's 7.5k, Impulse 5.5, Dimkey 6.7. Like this is economy you would love to have like a good 10 rounds in. Finest score for a timeout, understandably so, because they need one right now.
We need to have a big old talk. Because right now, this is their map pick. But yet to pick up any of their T rounds, and we know. Team Finest are a CT-sided team. At least on the first 2 maps we've seen. But they can't get away with this poor a T side and still walk away with a win? Because right now, 4glory are looking like they can 2-0 this. And Team Finest, they are not having a great day overall.
Something that I want to highlight, by the way, is both of these teams are on their favorite side. Team Finest actually prefer their T side, and most of their rounds have been won on their T side historically. For glory, it's about the same percentile, just on their CT side. So right now, every round being won is cataclysmic to momentum. And for Kindo, wary of a palace dive, do you hear from Finest? The flashes aren't going to be able to come over ramp, so it's just a contact play. And for Kindo, I mean, 2, it's all you need. You know where the third is, you know where the bomb is, and it just becomes a matter of punishing it.
It sets up Impulse now to try and play the pixel. As the swing is taken by Shocks onto Collins, then there's the punish. And now only Deegs in the hands of remaining members of Finest. They won't be able to do too much here. No shot hit. A swing with the AWP. Brave here. But maybe 4glory is starting to feel a little bit confident on this map. Twister's going to check that confidence for a while. Hold up, son. It ain't free. We are still good at aiming. We're just not good at executing.
Yeah, absolutely right. 4glory, they 8 deaths in 6 rounds. It's just not enough. Team Finest, they move their full buy. The AWP comes out on Anarchez, and maybe the AWP is the difference maker. I mean, last time I went through mid, he was caught out, but that was over the top of a one-way, and one-ways could only really be used once or twice. So maybe this is where Finest turn it around. But if this spy round collapses, they have to drop down to another pistol round. 4glory are going to look unstoppable.
Great start here for Anarchez. Had to start eventually. Like a chainsaw where you pull the ripcord 7 times. On the 7th, it'll work.
Double backing now, Anarchez. Very aggressive angle.
I can't believe you're arguing this in the chat. You are such... You are such a person. I cannot say the words.
They need answers. Dimkey. He pushes through CT now. With Twist, the man on the angle to try and stop him.
Dimkey. Oh, they win the first. However, down so low to only 11. A leg shot or a body shot will do it. But it's ahead from Plessin. Precise, clean, and under control. Team Finest now have their 1 versus 2. Plessin versus the world, and the world is simply too heavy. Collins was in the back, confident in the Kindo swing, knowing that this defuse would work on out, even without the defuse kit. I love the trust there, Kramer. That is spicy.
I also like the methodology behind that. They throw the double Molotov, meaning the fumes sort of perturb vision a little bit. And so, you know, when he just swings out, he can just take a 1v1, knowing that the further he swings, the less likely his head's going to be found through the flames of the Molotov. So, a really nice bit of teamwork there. And for 4glory, yes, that round they do actually take damage, but it doesn't matter because of all the prior cash they've been able to rack up.
Right now, on deck, baby.
The trust fund's looking pretty good.
Choked has got my favorite. See what we can do with ESG. AVN watching over the crosshair. Will need to be marked on the back. The set smoke will be thrown. And upgrades, people, upgrades if you need them. For your monitor. Grab them from our partners over at MSI up to 360 Hz to make sure you do not miss a nanosecond of the action, and you have the response times and the reactions to move your way up those global ladders. Thanks, MSI. Good partners. I love their laptops too. The GS65 is an absolute beast, even if it's a little bit old now. I haven't kept up to date with the new models as much, but they are all, of course, fantastic. The Krieg grabs one from Dimke. And now only Twist remains with 3 HP. That's 1 for each player they have to try and take on down. Team Finest looking down the barrel of an 8-0 here.
Harry, I'm sorry, but I need to ruin your opinion of the SG.
I mean, if you're going to give me a gun fact to try and ruin it, don't worry, that doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, well, the SG553 in CS isn't an SG553. It's I believe it's an SG556 or a SIG 556 Hollow, which makes it semi-automatic. Which means being able to go bang, 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 bang very quickly is the closest you could do because of how good a trigger finger is. And the CS is full auto, therefore another kind of telltale sign of the game being broken.
Gabe is going to come to your house and eat your shoes.
Maybe my shoes might contain some gun facts for him, and he might be able to fix this game.
just like traced along the side in Sharpie.
I'm thoroughly disappointed in CSGO at the moment. The more I read into it, the more pain it is. You look at the Ultimate partners at Pinnacle, they're starting to spiral. We've seen worse, and we've seen teams come back from worse, but even Pinnacle are losing hope right now. As Finest, they used their second timeout. The first one clearly didn't work. Maybe this one's different, but I mean, look at their money. It just doesn't work.
Oh, man. You know what does work, though, Kremer?
What's that, Harry?
AstroPay. Are wonderful partners who allow you to pay securely, privately, and quickly at thousands of e-commerce stores. AstroPay will make sure that your money gets to where it needs to go and make sure that the goods reach you in good time. Unfortunately, if you're on Team Finest, there isn't too much good going around right now.
I wonder if AstroPay are around in the universe of robots.
Could you use AstroPay to pay for your robot's baby? Questions only Kremer will ask.
I ask because we need answers, Harry. You will never silence me.
I don't even know where you could watch robots. Like, does DreamWorks have a streaming platform?
No, I found the disc, I think, under a sofa about 3 years ago. And
you're like, oh, I'm gonna give this one a watch.
Yeah. The same for I found a lot, like Cars, the like OG Shrek. Yeah, robots.
I had no joke, like 2 separate copies of a Shrek 2 DVD.
Understandable, man. Understandable.
I know that one's understandable. I'll tell you about how many copies of Avatar I had later.
Donkey's children are a genetic dead end, though. Like...
Yes, they would be infertile crossbreeds, but we'll talk about that later. Because at the moment, Team Finest are finally negotiating themselves a mandate for trigger discipline. The bomb. Oh no, how do you get to this now?
There's only 30 seconds.
Oh, the bomb. Yep, the bomb with 30 seconds. B-site has been taken, but at what cost, mate? Yes, Shocks has made it viable. Oh, okay. The bomb grabbed. Touch of blocking. But look at this. Collins round the back. Kreese expects it. Team Finest! They might get a T round off of basically a half buy. Unbelievable.
Evian. As he shut down Shocks there. Hasn't quite seen the angle. Shocks misses his initial shot. Oh, takes some damage through the wall. And Evian saves. Finest. They get their first round, Harry. Is this the start of something?
Well, I look at the quintuple digit money on Impulse, I'm like, probably not.
Yeah, 4glory aren't going to have any financial troubles for a while. But it's...
Oh, AVM might look for exits here. They're being pretty conservative. This is well disciplined, at least.
You need to remember as well that for Team Finest, we are only 10 rounds in, or 9 rounds into the half. There's still time to break 4glory's economy. It's coming close, and they are still looking very strong, but an 8-7 is the potential here. I want to highlight as well, Kreese and Pleasant, currently only 2 kills total, and those kills came last round. It's taken them 9 rounds to get kills.
You know, when Avatar came out in, like, when was it, 2009? Like,
yeah,
3 separate sets of relatives got me the DVD for Christmas. So I had about 4 Avatar DVDs. Oh. I had way too many copies of that movie. I don't even like it.
What I've realized, Avatar's one of the highest, I think the highest grossing movie ever, and no one remembers anything that happens.
I remember Old Man Evil. Oh my goodness, Team Finest have learned how to gunfight, and they've done it so well here for Glory. A far cry from only 5 deaths in 5 rounds, 4 of them eliminated in record time, as Kindo is contemplating maybe some manner of backstab here, but look, Twist has the idea, thinks about it, and this is a very unconventional position to try and get some exits.
That it is, and it may be a lack of getting access and more just saving. Dimki doesn't have money, neither does Gindo. And for Team Finest, I mean, they just suddenly show up. my question to you, Harry, becomes how what can Finest do to turn this half around? Because their success has been on B, sure. I mean, it was on B on Dust 2 as well. How frequently can they convert these rounds? How frequently can they just assault B before 4glory start sending an extra player to mid or an extra player for B apps control? Because it's quite one-dimensional, their success right now. I would love to see a success in mid control, because that's something you can pivot into many other executions, but they're still kind of shying away from mid from what's been the first 5 rounds they attempted to go through mid, and it just didn't work.
Well, this is the thing that happened last time on Dust 2, right? Team Finest got a lot of success over on B. A very hard side to retake. They managed to get in and get it done, and then, for glory, they started reinforcing B. However, they aren't doing the same kind of thing this time. It's still only the one player here. A little bit more focus being put towards mid. Double ups in window.
Lesson holds underpass. Awaiting spot of aggression. Twist. Nice extinguish on the molly, though, but that was a secondary window smoke that now can't be thrown.
Alright, creeping up through apps as well. Where's the bomb? At the moment, untouched. Back towards the top of mid. Anakez, what a swing! Through the smoke again, I told you. Anakez. Got different eyes, dude. He's got like contact lenses that give him eagle eyes or something. Advantage on perception checks through smoke. IDK. Either way, a huge amount of smoke kills from Anakez with the AWP. Creeps on through. Dimka says no thank you. We are not open for apartment viewings today, and now the bomb is isolated, Kremer. In a 2 versus 4, Team Finest have lost their luster real quick.
Shots on the Kindo.
Hello.
3 on 2. Impulse misses the shot, but the bomb's still on B. Dimky, if he falls, this could be problematic. Did he not see Anakez there?
I don't know. Oh, there might be a stop here on the plant. Never mind, actually, I was misreading the map. My bad.
I don't like how they've actually planted there. They planted knowing that Shox is nowhere near the site. So all Avian needs to do is just push and kill.
The whiffs are strong. Anakez still alive, and Anakez, he was the savior on Dust 2, if any could be claimed. And now, what was 8-0 has become potentially 8-7. Team Finest here might finally be able to force 4glory to not have a overwhelming buy. Something to stop them in their tracks. However, you've got to worry here. If they can get eco'd, things might spiral again.
I mean, they were eco'd on Dust 2. And they were eco'd by 4glory just punishing them, just by existing. And my worry for Team Finest is, and that's another round 1, but it's another round on B. How long before Dimky just doesn't move till the bomb's planted? And right now, Finest, it's still a one-dimensional T-side. Yes, Shox does the odd lurk onto A, but what control does that garner if your bombs are being held by 4glory?
Collins, well assisted by the flash. And the double SMG here. Unbelievable. And Mr. Anakez swaps over to a P250. That strikes true. Lovely shots from Anakez. That evens up the numbers. But it does not stop 4glory from taking away 2 of those rifles. And now it's Anakez and Team Finest who are beginning to build up an economy in the nadir of this half. The twilight, the last 3 or 4 rounds.
Shox, I think wary of aggression in outside of A here. And his lurks have been very strong for Finest, but at what point do 4glory just get wary to his ways? And you look at the rotation of Anakez here, he's going ramp solo. With an AWP as well, that's going to be tough, particularly if he just gets caught out by the 5-7.
5-7 could be deadly here. Anakez has already missed 1 shot on the AWP. Should be able to see the legs here. Yep, Anakez knows, but that's a miss. Anakez is not feeling it on the AWP in this particular round, but has been doing so recently. Don't use the USP at range. This has happened before over on Dust. This time, Team Finest, keep it real. And honestly, This is looking a lot better for them now with 4 rounds in the bank. This is about all they needed on their T side because this is a team that loves their CT.
So to highlight as well is they punish their ramp presence there quite significantly while the CT player is still alive. Avian sort of allows his teammate to die. When he's the CT, USP in hand, he's hiding, which means the Palace player just flanks around the back and their chance of isolating the bomb just sort of falls. Finest though. Against the full bite, Impulse, almost the collapse.
No
but it doesn't matter.
All right, you've had your fun. I'm putting a stop to it now, says Impulse. And Anarchiz, still a victim of that collapse, down so low. Those who directly caught the bullets, slain readily. And now only Plastin and Anarchiz remain. Admittedly, they have a bunch of money here, so we're not too worried about dying if they can continue to harass 4glory in their bank accounts. Collins tucks on in, waiting for Plessen's presence.
Now.
That's the bomb.
And there's the momentum for 4glory. Pleasant a 1 versus 5. Collins. Not expecting him on a close angle, but that may be his only kill.
What kind of role do you think a Toyota Hilux would play in cars?
In cars? Probably the military. Like the budget
You
military.
don't think they'd be Humvees?
Maybe. I feel like a Humvee would be a Humvee. I think a Toyota Hilux is its own special place. You know at the start of Cars 2, when they're on the oil rig?
I have not seen Cars 2.
At the start of Cars 2, they're on an oil rig. And that's like meant to be like a paramilitary like organization. Run by Lemon Cars. Honestly, it's a cracking movie. I recommend it. It's nothing to do with racing, by the way, but go give it a look. Honestly, I bet Toyota Hilux has a place in that. As like some all-terrain auxiliary units. That has a high caliber machine gun mounted to the back of it.
Hilux Commandos.
Yeah.
One player noted behind those boxes, having to use the smoke to instantly extinguish. I imagine with Team Finest starting to pick up rounds here, the odds from our partners over at Pinnacle are going to start to tighten up once more. Having seen this potential comeback from Team Finest, I think the highest we saw was, what, about 7? That might be a fun bet for somebody on the match odds. If they're over 18 and betting in a fun and safe environment, of course.
It's Pinnacle. They're good. Kind of pop established.
Oh, no way he wins that. Especially with a headshot.
He's having such a good game right now. Let's just going to try and fight him as well. That's bold.
Test me, says Impulse. Bloody test me. I am not in the mood. I will turn this map around.
Anakas maybe turns the round around.
Oh, that's a big swing moving through, kinda. What can they do here? Nothing. Shock says this one is over, mate. The last 2 players are over on B. And Dimke has no cash. This is going to be a forced save here. And Impulse might be able to grab themselves another AWP if they stretch and scrimp and save. Not much more than that.
I want to highlight something, which is... I think Collins gets, like, impatient. He had a perfect angle under balcony there. Perfect angle. And he knows that Finest are going A. He already knows they've lost window control because they've lost short and window. So peeking jungle doesn't matter because if they want to be in window, they're in window. Instead, he sort of half peeks to stairs, gets caught out for it, and the A site just falls. It's a big punish from Team Finest here. And if it goes 9-6, we suddenly have a game on our hands.
Might go 9-6, 2 maps in a row.
Yeah.
There we go. The odds from our partners over at Pinnacle continue to adjust 4glory. Are preferred in the match odds, but if we go to Ancient, it's anybody's game, Kremer.
Do you have a prediction, Harry?
I think 4glory probably in a pretty good place here. I think their Mirage in terms of our statistics is somewhat underrated. Like, they lost it twice in a short continuum to BLUEJAYS in the same manner. And I don't think it gave them a huge amount of time for iteration. But Anarchiz, when they're hitting shots like that, it's very difficult to count out Team Finest. A crossfire here across mid. Freeze smoking Collins, but everyone on Team Finest at the moment in pretty reserved positions. They allowed Anarchez to go big, and now seeing what they can do with that information and that advantage.
Something I want to highlight is Finest, they haven't lost Mirage this year. They just haven't lost it this year. I think their closest game was a game against Sinners, which we'll be able to look at in just a second. And for me, that half ended 10-5, T-side Finest in the lead. So
down 69 HP.
Yeah.
Nice escape. However, no escape for Dimki. Collins on the jump spot. Impulse. The aggression here. Found a gap in the smoke. You can run, but you cannot hide from Collins. And it's VN, or AVN rather, pardon me. I wish I could read letters. That'd be very useful. Timinged by Kreese as they were checking in the window. Down to 2 versus 2. But Impulse is still alive and Anarchez is dead. A tap upon the bomb. Who dares to peek it? It was one coming through from Connector, so Twist still unrevealed. And even more peeks coming through. It's Kreese, and now Collins remains. Who dares to come from Connector? Kreese able to win it. 6-9. A nice comeback from Team Finest.
It's a comeback, but they still lost on their favored half. Now, for Glory, as you mentioned, you know, the reason their stats don't look great is because they lost twice to BLUEJAYS. Go back further, they actually lost to Bad News Eagles. So that, and you know, both BLUEJAYS and Bad News Eagles are very similar in play style. And before that, they lost to 0 to 100. They just suck against Macedonian teams. And then when Bad News Eagles, of course, Kosovo team, BLUEJAYS and Bad News Eagles, they practice against each other a lot. And so once they both had their momentum, once they both had like a playstyle for Mirage, they just beat for Glory. But the reality is, their win rate should be higher, and this could be where they turn it around.
Inter-Balkan Mirage is a dirty thing. Kreese is dirty with the USP as well. Interesting that Impulse here has not bought the P250, as we'd usually see from Orpa's Pleasant. Unbelievable target adjustment. Both for Glory attackers slain. The bomb is on the floor. Impulse now all alone. Kreese has been noted. Simply does some damage. And then tucks away. Waits for the drop. That was a great time. Waiting till the step stopped, which sort of indicated the drop down from the high. And then takes a swing.
That they do. 9-7. Suddenly things look a bit better for Finest. Now, I want to highlight that again. For Glory, they do sort of... they see a player on A, decide to avoid them, and in the process run into the unknown on B. I would have rather have seen them man up and just try and isolate, I believe, Kreese, the A-site player. Instead, they're going into the unknown on short, where Pleasant's able to just shut them down. Glory, full eco now, Team Finest go for mid control, so they can farm a bit of cash.
Anarchez with the SMG. No head armor anywhere. It should be a slaughter. Lesson though. Takes a little bit of damage and then people duck away. Now the P250 is in the hands of Impulse. I wanted to see this last round, but to be fair, it wouldn't have been a win either way, I imagine. Team Finest were locking it down pretty hard. Oh, Anarchez, are we going to get flashed out here? Take the swing. Yep, there it is. Anarchez moving. Oh my goodness. Shot down by the Glock. Dimka takes one down as well. This is not ideal. The Famous has been gained. Up into jungle. No way. No. That is not great for Team Finest.
That was exceedingly costly, actually, in a round where they absolutely should have just, well, they should just held on. They were in a pretty good position. For Glory, the odds still favouring them. Not as much as they used to, but still favouring them.
As we move out here into round 18. A full buy from For Glory. And maybe they paid for it using AstroPay, where you can pay privately, securely, and quickly at thousands of online retailers. Wonderful partners that they are. Thanks, AstroPay. You're good.
Now Dimki, run boost out from mid here. Actually gets straight behind the box there. I like it. It's a fairly passive run boost in the sense that he isn't going for a kill straight off the back of it. It's Finest now. Look to hold this mid control. Early flash into connector is going to force Pleasant back. So Glory just garner as much ground as they can.
Molotov handed over to Dimki. And thus far, bloodless and bruiseless. Pleasant, the only ones to take any damage. I think they might have caught a smoke, considering that it's only 1 HP that's missing. And now, a little bit antsy. Trying to check down this stairwell. Impulse lies in wait. Seen and damage done. Twist doesn't want to double on down, but Shots is going to come in. From the other side, Shocks rather. Dimki seen. That's a trade. Next up comes another. 2 for 2. But guess what? Suddenly Kreese finds themselves alone. Look at all those X's, all those corpses over by window. Collins must have been able to absolutely dominate in that zone.
Absolutely right. I actually really like that execution from 4glory. They get them in control, they allow that to flank, and they just straight execute. It's sort of what they were trying to do in their pistol rounds, but without utility. And this time, it's accompanied by utility. It's accompanied by already garnering that control on mid, and they really make it work. Kreese, alone in a 1v3. It's like to highlight because the amount of damage Finest took in the last round against the Eco, their money is not in a pretty spot at all.
It's far from confidence-inducing. And 4glory start their T side early, which is important. Because we've seen some of these teams really stall out on their T side as they try and figure out where their opponent's defaults have some weaknesses, how they can exploit them, and how then to try and adjust to the adaptations made by the CT side. But already, 4glory is starting to knock Finest about a little bit.
Now, Finest, they prepare a bit of aggression in mid here. Potentially going for what could have been a stacking window, actually, just to challenge mid control. But 4glory, they don't care about mid, Harry. They don't care. They want the safe site. They set their gaze to it, and for Team Finest, Kreese, the kind of power weapon of that M4, is going to be in position on A, so there's a world where this could be converted.
Kreese. Oh, smoked off. Has to move around again. Look at all of this utility. A trio of Molotovs, Anarchies. Their back foot is spotted. The HE's sent on out. Pleasant blown apart by HE's. And just about hanging on with sinew, bone, and muscle. The bomb has been planted. Twist may well be noted here. Tucking in tight. That is not great gunplay here. Surely Twist can't get 2. No, 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 no. Oh, this is a little bit of a choke here from 4glory. Even more so. How is this happening? Team Finest, their gunplay is working out well. And Collins is dead too. It's only down to Impulse. Already noted by one. Pleasant takes a swing with the AK. Team Finest, they don't need weapons when 4glory are going to feed on in and fumble their sprays.
That was embarrassing from 4glory there. They feed that round to Finest.
They need some better monitors.
They do need monitors. Where can they get monitors, Harry?
From our friends over at MSI, of course, up to 360 hertz for the high refresh rate, high reaction times, and less fumbles.
It's true. If you get an MSI monitor, you won't instant eco like that.
It won't absolutely embarrass yourself on the CT push.
I've genuinely lost for words. I don't know how that is even allowed to happen. Finest. Now currently a man up. Shock sorts down Collins. We make that 3-on-3 for 4glory. They still bite.
Kindo here. Likely to be caught out as they move through connector. Pleasant. Surely Pleasant hasn't missed this.
Yes.
No way. They've slipped the net. This could be an easy boy. Looking over into jungle, Twist might expect it. No, the timings are all going wrong for Finest here. Caught with a knife in hand. Yet another fumbled spray, but in the end, a kill's a kill, baby. Kreese playing near tickets. And interesting what they decided to plant here.
Why? Why would Kindo swing?
These rounds make no sense to me. Pleasant swings on out AVN.
What?
Tactics have gone out the window. It's deathmatch now, baby. AVN can try and play this slowly, but they don't really have the time to play with it at this moment. Jump spot already catches themselves a body, and Kreese holds the defuse for a second longer. AVN creeps on up and hits the shot for glory by the skin of their teeth, win that one, but so messy from both teams.
Yeah, I'm not liking how impatient for glory are. I'm really not liking that. They had every position they could have wanted. They had jungle control for the afterplants. Even if the bomb goes down and the players on site die, you're still set up for an afterplant. Kindo peeks, though. Why? You know Pleasant plays short. You know he's on site. No, you know he'll be coming from B site. On top of the fact that you know he's got a full buy. Because he was able to save and he was able to get money. What was the thought process? Granted, we do slam on Kindo quite a bit. Credit where credit is due for Glory did win a round there, which, let's be honest, was for a moment looking fairly difficult for them. But I'm still not happy, Harry. How am I the grumpy, cynical one out of the two of us?
I don't know. You are grumpy beyond your years, Kremer.
I am. Surely that just makes you even older, though.
I mean, but I've not been forged in the crucibles of CS.
That's true.
I've spent 4 years in happy clappy Overwatch.
That's true. I currently don't know what happiness is. Like, to me, serotonin is just a class B drug. Like, Kindo.
Serotonin is an AWP shot.
Oh, do you mean an AWM shot? Twist. We've only that position. There's a 2-man advantage. You'll see if the Glory struggle with. Oh, please tell me they don't struggle with this one as well. They
should be noted now in hell. This crossing needs to be covered. Shox was going to be the one to do it. Anarcase gets even more. 3 with a deagle.
Please don't tell me they lose this one as well.
Priest has an M4. It's very much doable. It is. What is that weapon in the hands of Impulse right now? What is that?
MP5.
An MP5.
Look at the position increase.
Oh, Kreese sees for silencer. No way Collins loses that one. Kreese was spraying elsewhere. The MP5 softens him up for the HE bounce. That was a beautiful play there from Impulse, but it's such a mixed bag because for Glory were really disciplined when they got that molly to get the player out from outside Palace, and we're like, okay, cool. Even against an eco, they're playing it properly, not taking too many risks. Sometimes Anarcase just gets a 3k with a deke.
These eco rounds, they play with us, Harry. They actually, I don't have a fickle heart, but honestly, these toy with me. For Glory, against the full eco Team Finest, they're probably going to struggle more against this than they do against the full buy. As Team Finest, they get ready to charge through Apsir into the waiting, maybe loving arms of Kindo, who sees the eco coming, doesn't move though, instead keeps fighting. Mac 10, they'll continue fighting. I mean, they're after cash anyway. Anarcase punishes it. Harry, it can't, please. I can't handle it. I can't do it.
I am upset.
I genuinely can't do it. There's no way Finest win an eco. After what has been some barbaric rounds. They're not clearing ground.
I swear to God, I am invoicing these teams for my therapy. I confiscated AK in the hands of Anarcase, and he has been lights out. Okay, here come the USPs. Clean number first, Impulse. Impulse is Mr. Consistent, right? Okay. Impulse and Dimk make sure that I do not grow yet another brain hernia, and for Glory hit 13.
I feel like I'm going to have an aneurysm. For Glory. How do they make buy rounds look so one-sided and then struggle this much against pistols? Like, it breaks my mind. It's like the second they see pistols, there's like a little on-off button in everyone's head.
They have a fight-or-flight response to deagles.
Yeah, that says eco frags, and it flicks to the on position, and they sort of just see red and beeline for the kills. And every time they get punished for it. So not to mention, cars makes me happy. Cars do make me happy. But not as in the vehicles as in the Pixar animated hit series.
In that case, it would be Cars makes me happy.
Cars does make me happy.
Oh, hello. Direct hit. Damage done. Twist on the backside. The M4 spray works out perfectly. That's 4 kills in quick succession. And who remains but Collins? This should be Team Finest grabbing double digits. The bomb is well out of reach, but look at this. A hunter-killer is Twist, and they are likely going to be hearing Collins having a little bit of a stomp around with those heavy T boots.
Without
I swear
the
to
bomb,
God, the sound from footsteps in this game, Kramer, everyone weighs 400 pounds.
Yeah. Granted, I suppose when you're listening and your adrenaline's going, everything does seem a bit louder. You should be deaf, though, having fired, like, full auto AKs without AKMs, but without ear protection. The only protection Team Finest seem to be able to muster, they can afford negevs, they can afford M249s, they can afford AWMs, but their face protection consists of sunglasses.
Hey, you know what, though? We can, the CT operators on Vertigo and I believe Nuke, all wear ear protection.
They do, and I'm very happy with that. It makes sense.
Safety first when fighting terrorists.
Yep.
We stand a safe ear king.
I actually don't know what the Battlefield application is for headphones. I imagine there isn't one. Freeze on the jump spot, looking to punish Deco for Glory here. Let's see, will For Glory be able to do onto Team Finest what Team Finest are able to do onto them? Freeze, he knows the eco's coming. This is where the rotation comes in. The nade stack will land. It's a nasty amount of damage, Harry.
Oh, the U-tilt. The U-tilt. They just burned to death. Ah, it's a barbecue, boys. Roasted tea.
Fun fact, burnt hair smells of burnt popcorn, and it's absolutely revolting.
Yeah, burnt hair is a terrible smell.
It really.
Keratin does not burn well.
It also, it's a smell that sticks to stuff. Like, it's a smell that really lingers. I really don't recommend burning your hair if you haven't thought of doing it. I don't know why you would. Maybe I mentioned it and you were interested for science. Don't do it.
I don't even have a lighter, man.
Yeah. You don't even have a lighter. Everyone has a lighter lying around somewhere.
Why would I have a lighter?
Use a stove.
Dude, okay, I'll share that story later because this is about to get a little bit interesting. Impulse gets through easily. Dimka says no. And Plessen. What can they do to stop this connector push? That's one. Anything more than this? Dimka falls, but that's okay. They've already done their job, Anarchez. 5.2k. They'll take a cheeky peeky here. But look at this, the close contact from Kindo. Say goodbye to your AWP for Glory. Grab this one. And what I used to have to do, we had I was living in Ukraine for a while for a product Starland.
Yeah.
And we had this really nice Airbnb. Mm-hmm. But the only thing that was wrong with it was that the stove did not have an ignition on it. So what we had to do to light the stove was get a piece of dry spaghetti and light the end of it with a lighter, and then stick it like all the way inside the gas ring to ignite the gas.
That is incredible. Does spaghetti burn well?
It's okay. What we really needed was like a long range lighter, but the best we could do was like dry spaghetti as a wick.
I mean, I guess it works. If it works, it works. I'm trying to think of other applications of fire I've been able to do. I've managed to burn a brazier in half. I didn't think that was possible.
That's like saying you drowned a swimming pool.
Yeah, I literally burnt a brazier to the point where the wire mesh around it melted, and I was just burning wood. If anyone does know how to get a brazier around Bournemouth, please let me know. As Glory, for Glory.
Any brazier repair specialists in the chat?
Yeah, please get in contact. As for Glory, they spat out into a default. 1 away from guaranteeing overtime, 2 away from a victory. Unfortunately for Team Finest, they're only going to have a bye for one of those rounds if they lose it.
For Glory, on the edge of winning this match as well here in our main Swiss. That would make them, what, 2-0? I forget how far in we are. Yep. We've been AFK for a couple of days. We are in round number 2.
This is round 2. Both these teams won their opening game.
Oh, Anarchez. Speedy boy. And Kindo, kind of dead. Luckily, the bomb is not in this position. Anarchez might well have been checking for that to begin with, but Now they have to fight with Dimki. And Dimki's been having a pretty good game thus far. Collins sprays away with the M4. A molly sent out. An impulse. Might well be worried for their life here. They want to pick up that bomb at some point before this area is completely claimed by the CTs, but no. Backs off without it. And this one seems like it might be a foregone conclusion here, Grammar.
Glory, they get out of there, they save, they hold on to their weapons, the little bit of utility on Dimki as well. The fighters make it 12. Harry, I'll put you on the spot a bit here. Who do you see winning this?
Why'd you always do that for predictions and never like, how much Listerine do you think you could drink before you got seriously ill?
Probably about 3 or 4 bottles. What do you mean by ill? Because like, what do you mean by drink? Are we talking about swallowed, ingested, or swooshed around a bit and spat out?
I wasn't prepared for follow-up questions.
Because if it was for like swoosh around a bit, I could probably go till I lose feeling in my mouth and then go a bit more. If it's like swallowing, I'm sure I've never tried. We don't have any serious answers, do we? Is it
BM for me to say that it actually surprises me that you have not swallowed mouthwash in your life?
Well, I'm not stupid. Like, wow, wow. Glory.
This is a man who has drank a lot of custard.
I told that story in confidence. The fact you found out less than hours later pains me.
Okay, right. For Glory, 2 rounds away from winning this round of the Swiss. Finest, though, have the double AWP setup. Both Kreese and Anarchez stand prepared.
Anarchez goes up to short, scopes in. Where are the fact that for Glory are going for a fairly regimented default. There, it's been mid and something when Glory have executed somewhere. So in going for this kind of early connect, having a third player on B, just putting them short, gambles a little bit as to it being hits a B. In this case, that gamble may very well pay off because you've still got Impulse holding the angle for the jump spots.
Anarchez is on fire today. Some amazing shots. It really has been a tale of 2 AWPers who are kind of really at their top. Impulse and Anarchez have both been so good. Kindo, not the greatest spray, but does bring shots low, and now they're going to have to maybe think twice about taking any peeks. And of course, those Molotov ticks are going to be very difficult to deal with. Kreese for second AWP. Right now playing second fiddle because Anarchez is an absolute monster.
Shox, low HP as well. I like how with the low HP, Shox decides to just push an angle. They pick an area and push it. The idea being that while they may be on low HP, if they catch on with their knife out, it won't matter. There's Kreese now, wielding that aforementioned AWP. Sits back and B, looking to smoke and maybe even flash his teammates out to the site. Look at that smoke as well to window. There's a bit of extra space.
Oh, Anarchez just dives on through. Doesn't care. Run and gun, the AWPs, they sing in concert, the harmony is solid, it's a high C over a high G, and Team Finest take this round away, and now they'll be able to get 14 fairly easily due to the economic situation that they forced for Glory into.
Harry, for Glory there, they had an angle on top of bricks to punish the swing from Kreese, and they fall off it. Kreese then kills his teammate, and Kindo can't do anything. For Glory, 14-13. And I see Fighters taking us to a third map here. I don't see for Glory winning this. I've not been impressed by them.
Even Impulse, who has been fairly clutch. Oh, hello. Pardon me. That one caught me by surprise, boys and girls. Impulse blown away by the HE. Pleasant. Nice little bounce there on the nade, and this should be an easy slaughter. Except for Anarchez falling down. Unconventional. Shox. Stands prepared. 14 there for Team Finest. Only losing out on Anarchez. And that second AWP is going to be recovered, so it's not even a huge economic hit. Overall, Team Finest seem a lot better at killing pistols than for Glory are.
Yeah, absolutely right. 14-14. For Glory, they prepare a They prepare another kind of delisting default. I don't like the fact we're seeing so much attention to mid, actually. I would much rather see, bear in mind that their executions have worked out for them. Shocks gets ready to swing to top mid, avoids the first flash. Do they peek off the back of this, though? Collins going to flash the aggression, followed by a run boost for Dimkey here. Shocks could very well be caught out. I am so surprised 4glory don't kill him there. That is another just weird position to be in. How does he get away?
That went very weirdly. Kindo down to half HP. Anakez lying in wait once more.
Smoke to CT. Anakez peeks into connector here.
Oh, he's so quick when it comes to the flicks, but re-peeking a touch too soon. Shocks good for one, but no more than this. 4glory now in a 3 versus 3, still against one AWP. And surrounded on many sides right now. Do they dare try to break out of A, or is this where the action is going to finish? The plant is indeed going to be taken, but there's not that much cover. The bomb plant is stopped. Pleasant watches across. Now Impulse is all by themselves. And while they might get the bomb plant, this will allow for maybe a ramshackle buy next round if they can't win it. And indeed they can't. Team Finest on Mirage. They are looking solid.
That they are. And for 4glory, this has been it was such a solid start, and it's just gone downhill. Like, this has really been a disappointing performance from them. There have been so many rounds where they look like they should have won it, and by some miracle they lose it. And it's not Finest playing well, it's 4glory handing rounds to them.
It's like clutch losses.
Yeah, exactly. And well, they're just punished for it, understandably so. 4glory, AKs around the board, very limited utility, again into a default against the full buy of Team Finest, looking to close out the map and force us to a third map of our series.
So when you're playing this with low utility, Kremers, you like it going slow, try and get Team Finest to force out that utility advantage early?
I'm a big fan of contact plays. You get your best player at the moment, which I think is Collins, who's doing very well, and you all stack up behind Collins. Collins gets a kill, and you explode onto a site. It's preferably A. I really like fountain dives, particularly when the con player's focused on mid, which is what Team Finest have been doing, because 4glory have gone mid every round.
Oh, Dimkey. Like you said, falls in mid every single round. However, A starting to be blockaded. Shocks. They need to get themselves one here.
I'm liking the contact play.
Oh, Twist has actually been passed on by, but do you check behind you? Kindo doesn't do a 360 sweep. They're both equally as unaware, AVN. Trust nobody. Anakez, though. This is the big bad boy. The big boss. Almost for 30 bomb. Make it 28 now. Another swing, another kill. Collins on the contact. Working out. AVN looks for the plant, but you've got enemies in your midst that you never saw coming. Lesson, do they dare to leave the smoke? No. It phases in their favor. And Kindo now, with a lack of HP and a pair of players up against them. It feels honestly like 4glory, the bomb is always the second thought. And now it's so close to enemy hands. Surely Kindo can't 2v1 this. No way. HE sent out, bomb grab, 10 seconds remain. And Kreese knows that time is now in their favor. It has to be channeled. Kindo puts it on down. Kreese around the left-hand side. Kindo checks the right. Sees Kreese. Can they convert? No! No way! What a spray fumble, and that's going to give Finest the map.
It is laboured. That was a arduous game. And, I mean, eventually it's converted. Team Finest, they win after what was that was certainly not a pleasant game. But they're able to convert it. They're able to survive. They force us to Ancient.
Well, that was Mirage. We're going to Ancient, and I have one word as we sign off for break. Yikes.
Paying online with AstroPay is really simple. From the merchant site, choose AstroPay as your payment option. Then, type your mobile number, enter the confirmation code, and select your preferred payment method. If you choose to pay with AstroPay Wallet, good for you, select it and you are ready. If you choose another payment option, follow the steps on screen. Your online payment is completed. Get the app in your favorite store or visit us at www.astropay.com.
Buongiorno, CS enthusiasts. We are back here with map number 3 between Team Finest and 4glory, going straight in towards our knife round. As both the players... Oh, the jump spot into the knife round. Anarchez not rewarded for that one at all. Slams down into the knives. And the swords of Damocles spike straight into their heart. 4glory will be able to pick their side first. They're over to the CTs. And what a wonderful time to tell you guys about the lovely folks over at Pinnacle, our presenting partner for the Pinnacle Cup. Of course, if you're looking to bet on CS or on any esport, Pinnacle have good odds for you and, well, a good time and a good user experience as well. Thank you so much for partnering up with us. You guys are nice.
Our producer speaks third best Italian, but he doesn't. Exactly.
Exactly. Third best. Arrivederci.
4glory. They prepare a fairly aggressive stance on B for the pistol round. They've left A completely unattended, and with smokes, molotovs, flashes, and kits, they're kind of equipped for a retake. But 5-on-5 retake, we'll have to see as Finest. They'll be able to get that bomb down uncontested.
Impulse. Down in the undergrowth. Twist with a little bit of an animation bug, but that's okay. You plant when you're ready. Full retake set up here. Alright, moving on. Oh, Anarchez winning out early with the Glock. We know him to be accurate. No P250 required. This time that's in the hands of Shocks instead. And Shocks finally strikes pay dirt with it.
Low HP on a lot of these Finest players, however, it may not matter. Anarchez, he survives with 1 HP. 1 HP, Harry. Once again, nothing in CS naturally does 1 HP. So you need to either be shot through a wall, take like a lick of molly damage while being shot on the legs or something to hit 1 HP. But we see 1 HP all the time. Team Finest, they go 1-0 up.
Indeed they do, Kramer.
Indeed they do.
Move to open my window. It is getting warm here in the UK, and it is causing some equipment overheating. But
oh no.
All is well,
the bingo,
all is fine.
Equipment malfunction. It's going to be ticked off.
3 MAC-10s. This is a farming round for Finest. And admittedly, Finest in this series, they've been much better, Kramer, at not getting undisciplined messes against pistols.
I always picture Swindon as being like a perpetual sort of grey drizzle. and kind of hearing or seeing it, anything other than that really makes me think, is it really Swindon?
I mean, the grey drizzle also being humid and hot is possibly the worst combination.
Oh, yeah, that does.
Like, all the discomfort of it being warm without any of the, like, sunshiny benefits. You don't even get any vitamin D from it.
You get hydrated, though.
Swindon have taken it all from us.
Yeah, suck in, and suddenly you're hydrated for the rest of the cast.
Suck in and you'll have wet lungs, mate.
Yeah. Is that a good thing?
No, definitely not. I think that's how pneumonia starts.
Oh, no. You got one of the casters who can't stop talking about guns, and the other's going into early onset pneumonia. Welcome to 4glory versus Team Finest. I'm going to go down once again a 5-on-5 retake for 4glory here. They've rolled the dice twice, and unfortunately, luck isn't in their favor.
And 4glory here might be the 4-man save. I mean, we're up against a bunch of MAC-10s, so it might well be well considered to just not, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the MAC-10s maybe go hunting, especially Twist, who's got plenty of money here, but I guess Team Finest will just take their freebie and they'll leave.
They'll do just that. That bomb's to go off, and while they don't get any chance to farm some eco frags, what they do to achieve is they're playing bonus next round. Heavy bonus next round, because, well, they got 3 MAC-10s to wield against a full buy of 4glory. And I say full buy, it's not a perfect buy, but it's something they can wield. There is lack of head armor in places, which is where the MAC-10s really are going to thrive. I would love to see a fast round from Finest here. Actually fast mid-control where they swipe the Molotovs, or maybe even just dive through Cheetah.
I remember it feels like so long ago that we were watching the 4glory T side over on Dust, and it felt like they were almost a rush-only team. That kind of speed is what we would like to see here. AVN with the Famas in hand, interestingly, for a pair of full saves.
Finest ready to hit this B site. playing for a timing now as they go for Candle's control. A secondary smoke from Collins, though, is going to put a momentary peace before quiet before the storm. So to highlight, though, is that 4glory right now don't have much utilities. They need a kill, and they need one very quickly.
Collins now stuck in Candles until that molly does extinguish. Their exit route very much ill-considered at the moment. At range, though, the MAC-10 can't beat out Impulse. Oh, that's a lovely flash, though. Twist allows it to happen. And that could be an upgrade for the MAC-10, too. Kindo waits a moment, allows Anakin... Oh, Anakin has now got into cover. Okay, there it is. The trigger discipline works out well. That second player never came. And now the bomb is a little bit out of tempo. The land grab from Anarchez is outdated and outmoded. And look at this. AVN is now plugging up the gaps. Really making sure that the only real way these T's can escape is through him or through T.
Finest, luckily, don't want to worry about AVN's flank. Instead, they're just going to re-assault to be where the smokes are going to secure them the site. The question is, will the bomb make it? Shox is taken down, and all of a sudden, this site looks a lot more difficult to control.
Remember, though, this is a bonus. Damage done to a 4glory economy is still good for Team Finest. Kreese remains alive in a 1 versus 2. They've taken out Dinka, but they do not have the bomb in hand. Kreese doesn't mind too much that this has happened. We actually upgraded from the MAC-10 over to the M4. And there's still a little bit of money to play with on Team Finest. 4glory pick up their first round.
That they do. It's against the bonus, though, and they only keep 1 player alive, so it certainly could have been cleaner. And as Finest move their full buy, so I want to highlight is T-side AWPing on Ancient is bloody difficult, because every part of Ancient is at a different altitude. You have to go up a ramp to get to A, and then there's the follow-up stairs when you head down into the site. Over on B, it's the same thing when you move up through the main. It's just a hard map to AWP on your T side. And for that, I wouldn't be surprised if Anarchez actually just holds on to the AK for the entirety of this half.
Anarchez wouldn't mind keeping that. Still pretty good with it. Collins opens up onto Plessed. Anarchez down as well. Impulse still with just the scout. But Dimka, oh, they could get themselves a nice timing here on some clearing players. Shock's going to be moving in first. No need for trigger discipline. Just wants to play the kills and the contact. AVN will be smoked off as they move over into A. And Kreese trying to cover this. That's excellent spam. AVN read it like a book. And now Kreese once more finds themselves isolated and alone with no friends and no heads.
4glory. They equalize at 2-2. Team Finest now find themselves down to an eco, actually. 4glory looking to continue their momentum. Remember, last time we saw those Pinnacle odds, they were in favor of Finest by arguably quite a distance, considering we were only about 1 or 2 rounds into the map. Both teams having won their respective map picks with 2 or 3 rounds to spare. It's turning into a very close series. In fact, overtime is definitely on the cards here.
Might be a little bit early to call overtime. Come on, Cran.
I've got the script here, Harry. It says overtime. Pinnacle insisted. It was actually I insisted, and Pinnacle kind of grumbled and went, just please stop talking. So.
Please shut your mouth.
Yes, all right, fine. You can have overtime. Just please leave us alone.
I will turn this map around.
There's a gap in this one. Kreese, does he identify it, though? Just a tiny gap to wield. Kindo, an iron will here. Actually hasn't moved either.
Kindo is just in on this. Very much determined to stay behind this box. This is my box. There are many like it on Ancient, but this one is mine.
That's the eco rush. Crossfire comes in.
Lovely crossfire. However, they still lose Kindo, which means access to a B site might be viable if you can get past Collins. Does have the bomb under watch, however.
Dimkey onto Twist, leaves Shox in a 1 versus 4. Eagle in hand, unable to retrieve the M4. Just makes their life that bit tougher. Actually able to pick it up, just as Impulse moves off the angle, and it's something to save, Harry. It's something, right? But for any, I think fighters were hoping for a little more damage than that.
That is a hideous M4.
Do you remember the old American camo? What was it called? And it was like 3 colors that are meant to appear in nature, and none of them do.
I have no idea.
I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was like a weird green, a bright blue, and then a really weird, like, it's supposed to be universal, and instead of being universal, it just doesn't apply anywhere.
Universal camo, and that it's not camouflaged anywhere in this universe.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like a blue, grey, and black, and even in the snow it doesn't appear because it's too dark. In the jungle it's blue, so it stands out. In the desert it stands out because it's blue, grey, and black. It was really, really bad. Maybe if you're floating in the ocean, you have a chance.
Maybe camouflaged against like a Jackson Pollock painting or something.
It's even then.
In an art gallery, I can stand in one place and I am camouflaged by a gun.
There's a really famous picture of them, of someone like laying on a sofa, and that sofa was just the perfect color. That's it. There's never been a. It took like 28 million to develop it.
$28 million wasted. Oh, yeah. So many wasted lives in mid. 2 members of Team Fighters fall on down. The odds from our partners over at Pinnacle. They did favor 4glory at the beginning of this round. And looks like they are going to be rewarded for their faith. Impulse, finally with that AWP in hand, manages to get the first one. AVN, spotted out, slain by Pleasant. In the 1 versus 3, grabby hands on the bomb. Picks it up, runs away.
Finest. Having struggled after the initial honeymoon stage of their pistol round. Pleasant, I mean, hey, a bomb plant would be nice, but you're running into awaiting members. Impulse delivers that killing blow. 4glory, they go 4-2 into the lead, and here's the thing, I actually don't want 4glory to get the lead here, because when
Oh, it's a bit late for that, mate.
When 4glory take a lead, at least a big lead, I don't want 4glory to get a big lead. So once they get a big lead, then suddenly fighters go down to pistols. They all suddenly turn on like the fight or flight eco round mode, and they start getting ruffle stomped by pistols. So, so long as it's close, 4glory are going to continue playing disciplined, which is why I want to see an overtime, because that's when both teams remember how to play CS.
Yes, 4glory, they do have a tendency to slurp on the moron juice once they get a little bit too confident.
I've got one of those hats that have like the 2 cans on either side with straws going.
Yeah, there's like moron juice on one side and CS juice on the other. Speaking of which, Team Finest are putting these pistols to use. 3-3. Impulse. Not sure why I'm calling it with a Z. Choose to the world of esports callouts. AWP here, feeling quite surrounded. Oh, trying to follow the trajectories here. The pistols are too damn good. Team Finest Deegs, baby. Shox has picked up that AWP. Confiscated it, in fact, from Impulse. And AVM will finish themselves, but Kreese, with that AK, is able to finish this on off. You were saying, Kremer.
What did I tell you, Harry? What did I tell you? Man, it just pains me. It actually pains me. Do you know what doesn't pay me? MSI don't pay me, Harry. Do you want to tell me about MSI?
Yes, the products from MSI are 100% guaranteed to not cause abdominal pain in you. They create laptops, motherboards, graphics cards, and monitors, which you saw down below. Yeah, maybe even mothers. We don't know. If MSI created mothers, they would be top-tier mothers. However, we're more interested in their monitors and their 360Hz refresh rate to make sure you don't miss a single frame of the action. Thank you to our partners over at MSI for partnering with this broadcast. You guys are neat.
They're pretty neat. They're good, Harry. They're good.
Good and neat. And cool.
And poggers.
Don't forget the poggers. Never forget the poggers.
Too finest. In a default. Just hoping for 4glory overextend a little bit to try and make up for the man disadvantage, and it looks like Kindo may be trying just that onto Twist here. But it's more poppycocking than any
any
true aggression.
That is simply poppycock, my good sir.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's a poppycock swing right there. Moving together, slaying together for glory. Unprepared in the donut for the diabetic charge of Team Finest.
Impulse just down cruise. Team Finest find themselves in a 4-on-2. About 35 seconds left. Team Finest. I mean, that bomb's going to go down. Right now, it's just a matter of trying to make it costly. And as Kindo falls, Impulse finds themselves in a really tough position in the sense that they're surrounded and they have an AWP to save.
For 45 seconds. All right, challenge mode. Interesting payoff for something you said earlier, Kremer. You'll be able to hear the twist approach here. This one should be easy for Impulse, but there's going to be a crossfire here. Twist lies in wait. Oh, that's a good flash. And the execution. So, to pay off what you said earlier, you talked about Anarchist staying on the AK, mostly for the entirety of the T side, but you are still correct, because they haven't bought an AWP yet.
Yeah.
This is a looted one.
Yeah. It's like, hey, Anarchist, we've got an AWP here, it's free. And he goes, it's free? They go, yeah, I guess. All right,
free AWP?
Yeah, I'm not going to say no to that. Any self-respecting AWP would say no to that. Look at the Oswald partners at Pinnacle. Actually, surprisingly one-sided.
The belief is there. Anarchez. Oh, the micro flicks. And the full flicks there up onto Impulse. Of course, these are going to be eco frags. It's all feel good from here, but Anarchez is covered well by Pleasant, who arrives on the scene just in time to upgrade to a USP. Team Finest grab themselves a 5th, and for glory, they got that eco round out of the way ASAP.
Would you like to hear something ever so slightly worrisome, Harry?
Yes.
Both of these teams have quite the preference for their CT side.
Oh no.
For glory, more so than Finest, but the dependency's still there. Which is...
That is worse news.
That is worse news. The alarm bells are starting to go if you're on for glory, particularly if you can't win this round.
If you can't win this round, it's going to be paycheck to paycheck for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think they do Wonga loans over in CS. Even so, still probably be ill-advised to take them. Making more corporate enemies. Sorry, Nuke.
It's something tells me Wonga aren't going to sponsor a CS tournament. I reckon we're good.
But what if, Kremer? What if?
If they do, I shall get a mortgage on Wonga.
You'd end up paying back like 50 billion.
Yeah. Well, it's only like 125% interest.
125%. You're a generous boy. All right, Anarchist here, sniping down the tube. Yeah, you guys better stay there. No flashes. Oh wait, there is one flash here for Kindo. That could make some trouble potentially, but better to hold on to it. Finest win yet another round, and for glory, forced to save with those who weren't engaged in the original melee over on A. The rest of their team is going to be buying around these M4s if they do buy at all. At the moment, AVN, surprising to be the real go-getter of 4glory at 8 and 6.
Glory, they find themselves calling for a timeout. I quite like how both teams have been using their timeouts. They've been using them fairly frequently, and I like that. You're breaking up momentum quite a bit, and it's all down to momentum, Harry, and you kind of dictate that with the use of timeouts. So we saw on Mirage, it was Team Finest still doing that more so, but for glory now they're on the back foot. It's their turn to use those timeouts.
Do you lose momentum on your online purchases? Then
Yes,
you should
I
consider
do.
our partners over at AstroPay. Pay securely, pay privately, and pay quickly. With AstroPay, our wonderful partners.
AstroPay are wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Oh, I'm so fired.
That's no. Or hired.
True. I'm one of those people who takes risks at job interviews.
That's right on side, I guess. Team Finest spread out around the map here, looking for a bit of momentum over in mid, where both AVN and Impulse are going to be in position to stop them. Impulse 5-7 and a couple of flashes. The equipment isn't really going in his favor, but he does have a teammate ready to support him in the form of Dimkey. The lack of utility of 4glory is going to really make challenging kind of any position difficult. And
AVN.
Crease doesn't extend to trade there.
Ooh, Impulse here might not be expected with a 5-7 in hand.
Punished.
5-7 in hand, 5-6 in the KD. And that's a looted weapon as well. Impulse is a happy boy. Team Finest now losing out on momentum. This is no longer a swell-looking round. Impulse holding the B side. This is suspected by 4glory, but beginning to leave to check candles. These two are going to have to come back rather quickly here. Set up for maybe a wallbang to try and stop the plant. Shocks as they run on through. The molly got them running. But the bullets is what's going to stop them. A slaughter, a grab of the AWP. I've been looking for one of these. Cheers, mate.
Solid round. Look, also part of the Pinnacle really against Finest right now. Already against 4glory, sorry, in favor of Finest. I'm inclined to agree with them because of just the dependency both teams have on their CT side, but this is still relatively close. Like, pistol rounds don't come into... They don't really get taken into consideration when you refer to how much of a dependence on the side you have. These pistol rounds are just aim, there's no stratagem behind them. At least until you really kind of go for heavy util investments. But at that point, you know...
Big have entered the chat.
Yeah, you could just be beat by aim. Impulse, there's the opening. No trade as of yet.
Extinguish on the molly had to be done. But that does reveal the cubby position of Kindo, and so there are a couple of bullets sprayed through there that does do a significant amount of damage. That was almost an info gather molly right there. Worked out nicely.
Collins, ready? Over in Cheetah. Inviting an engagement. Xavier's just to go for the info mid here. Spots out Kreese. Damage is all you need. When you're 2 players up, damage is all you need. And bear in mind, the utility on 4glory is not great. So every bit of damage is going to really merit them just quality of life come the execution. And with the bombs so far away from the rest of the team, it looks like Finest may just try and fake B so the bomb can just go down on A. Yeah,
but look at the angle that Dimkey is holding right now. Impulse doesn't take the shots. Hesitates. Oh, Plesson. I recognise him from high school. I wouldn't shoot my mate. I'm too nice for that. Oh, look at this. B's been completely abandoned. And A, open for the plant. If Shocks dares to move on forward for this, Kreese, you ain't having that, mate. No way. AVN, part of both the kills. But Shocks gets the plant, which will allow a little bit more money tick over for Team Finest here. And now Shocks, well, they can try and play this, but I think they're a little bit more concerned about maybe saving this AK. Moving like a herd of wildebeest for 4glory on the Serbian plains.
Oh, this flank.
Oh, this is so huge. No one's going to check behind them. This is considered cleared. Shocks. Here's the tap. There's the first. Where's the second? Oh, that's 2 kills for Shocks. And that keeps the 4glory money down, baby.
2 kills more than, honestly, what I was expecting. So I'm happy with that for Finest. You get a bomb down, extra cash for you. You remove 2 players from the round, causing reinvestments, and losing 2 players is recoverable. Losing 3, that's when your economy starts getting hurt quite a bit. So I'm actually quite liking this.
And the AK is lost as well.
Yeah.
That's important. It means that maybe a lack of head armor, if Team Finest have a ramshackle buy, won't be as punished. Or rather, if you buy head armor, you might not lose it instantly to the headshots of the AKs. Team Finest now go to a timeout after the lost round. But they did manage to gain a little bit off the back of that. The overall strategy in the 3 versus 5, I think we could say that was a vague success.
Yeah, it was. Team Finest, they called for a timeout afterwards. I'm really liking the use of timeouts from both teams. And for Team Finest, they have money, sure, but only for 1 more round. Once that's gone, 4glory are really going to be in the driver's seat for the latter 3 stages of this half.
Time taken. Strategies discussed. This has been a long series, Graham. Look at those scorelines.
Yeah, it has been. And when you end up the series this long, you find players on the other team that you like dueling. Like,
you build up a micro rivalry.
Yeah, you do, absolutely do. And I guarantee you, there's at some point someone said, Kado plays there, I want to fight him. Or Shox plays there, I would have fight him. Or it looks like A, but Shox is still alive, that's probably a lurk. That general communication is something that will come into play because player roles stays locked in regardless of what map you're on, which is where you can really start to anti-strat a little bit, at least on the fly.
You begin to learn tendencies.
Yeah.
Does Kindo have any way to get flashed out here? Doesn't matter, just takes it raw.
Doesn't need it.
And the raw is rewarded. Grabby hands noted, the bomb is gone, and now they know that one player is over in this direction, because that bomb had to disappear into someone's pockets, and it's Twist's pockets, which are now filled with C4. Would not recommend. Looks like it is going to be an A-site hit eventually, however, Twist falls down. That's the bomb again. And Shox once more has to try and play this alone from their A-site lurk into one-man wrecking crew in round 13. You'd probably want to save here.
There really isn't anything too bad when it comes to having C4 in your pocket. Just don't smoke. Or
advisable whether or not you have C4 in your pockets, by the way.
Yeah,
just another reason not to smoke.
Of course, you probably shouldn't have C4 in your pocket in general, but it's relatively stable.
Speaking of having things in your pockets, to go on another tangent while this save is happening.
Yeah.
Did you know that the Scotch egg was invented so that farmers could have an egg in their pocket?
Really?
Yeah, just so that you could pop it in your pocket when you're going off to work in the fields and take it out and eat it when you needed your lunch snack.
That is innovation. Like that is innovation right there, Harry. I love it.
Pocket food. I mean, it still gets fairly linty, but easier to brush off, I suppose, compared to a wet egg. And
a linty Scotch egg.
I hope you're all ready for dinner. Pre-extinguished on the molly. Very smart there, but still damage taken. Pleasant and Shox lose a bunch of their health.
Now Collins tries to do this extra bit of damage. Unable to do so. As Team Finest, I mean, been wounded a little bit. Still looking to this to be here. That's a lovely nade onto Impulse.
I love how you don't even get any you don't even get any shake in the scope when you get hit by a nade.
You just tank it.
Absolutely rock hard. Bricked up.
Yep. Ever so slightly unrealistic.
Gabe, come on.
I'm okay with unrealism like that because it's all balancing and makes the game fun, right? But labeling guns wrong, that is inexcusable.
You are a freak.
There's what is there to what balancing? Oh well, actually, if we named it the AWM, less people would buy it. Like, it doesn't change balancing.
Oh my goodness. Twist takes down Kindo. Now it's down to a 3 versus 3. Team Finest could convert on this. But Team Finest, it's always going to be in the back of their mind that there's not really much money to play with here. A bit late for a save, though. They're already committed to the site. The bomb's going to get planted here by Anakez, and Impulse can't hit the blind shots like their friend. Disadvantage on perception rolls through the smoke. AVN ready to activate, though, here. Onto Shox. AK barrel seen. Terrorist head taken off. Dimkir wins their duel as well. Now it's down to only Twist. The veteran of NIP. 6 HP. 3 for each member that they have to take down. Time, however, is on the side of Twist. A tap up on the bomb. Now Twist might have to creep on forward. The first is seen, and the first shot is all that is needed. Whether to the legs or to the body, it slew them. And 4glory pick up an 8th.
Glory. They also secure a victory in this first half. Here's the final round of this first half, and for Finest, for a while they looked pretty dominant, but it just sort of stumbled downhill for these kind of final breaths of the half. And you look, both of these teams have been pretty streaky. Like, there's been no sort of back and forth in rounds. It's either been win 4, lose 4, win 4. And now for Glory, as they look to try and at least end on a high, have a pretty beefy buy to do so. But for the first time in a while, a lot of it has been with lacking utility or shaky investments or the odd spam ass. This time, they do so with a buy.
Look at that spray pattern. That is a hunt. That is a search and destroy spray pattern right there. Yeah. If ever I have seen one. 2
One of the few
kills
times
for 2.
One of the few times I would excuse using a full auto.
Gotta have strong arms for that spray pattern on a full auto. Oh, Gindo
From
takes
an
a lot of
M4?
damage.
Not really. The M4 is quite nice for spray control. You'll feel it, sure, but you're not going to be at the sky by like bullet 5. the AKs are harder to control than the M4.
An unwieldy beast.
Yeah, well,
Of
AKs are
wood and
higher
lead.
caliber.
Oh, hello. Lovely hunt there from Collins. And once again, for the 3rd time, a half end, 6 to 9. Nice, nice motif.
I've been criticizing CS quite a lot. I'm going to credit them for something now, Harry.
Yeah, do you want to talk about your favorite game, Crabber, and not BM it?
So something that is pretty cool is, do you know why the M4 doesn't one-shot on headshot?
Why is that?
So excuse the fact that both of these should one-shot on headshot. The reason it doesn't is the M4A4 is a 5.56. So that hits you in the head, usually it should kill you. The AKM, which is what the AK-47 in CS is a 7.62. Bigger bullet, faster travel time. So, hits you in the head, you die to that. Whereas 5.56 won't break the head armor.
Will a Negev one-shot you in a headshot?
I think a Negev's 5.56. So, no. And I don't think it does the CS either.
Typical. I love that Glock. Former VIs. It's very nice. Gonna be a battle for candles here. Look at this crossfire. Collins wraps on through. How do they win? No way!
Wow.
The crossfire doesn't even get one.
What?
Oh my god. Team Finest. What a fumble right there. Was that flash assisted?
How did that work? For Glory, how have they not died yet? How is everyone still alive?
Okay, finally Collins dies, but little late. My doggy, blessing, spots Impulse, but it's someone else taking the swing. Kindo makes that happen. Wrapping around the back now, Shocks. Upgrades to USPs for a pair of Ts here. And for Glory, even though this map is popularly considered CT-sided, the pistol's going to go their way, surely. Yep, there it is. Shocks grabs one, but no more than that. And there we go.
Would you like a fun fact about the Negev?
Yes, I would. I love MGs.
So,
LMGs.
The Negev has like 3 settings to it. You've got like setting 1, which is like normal operations. You've got setting 2, which changes the gas regulator, which means that if you're in like a really dusty like area or like a heavy like fouling from like dirt or something, it will still fire with setting 2. And setting 3 isolates the gas system. Do you know what that means?
What does that mean?
You can start shooting grenades out of it.
Gonna need a lot of nades for that rate of fire.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool gun that I have. It's a Rayleigh gun. Actually.
Oh, no surprise that it's got itself that second setting then. Just for nature of the geography. One for one. Not the ideal trades here for the Glory and their anti-eco. Up against a cadre of Deagles. You do have to worry about the accuracy that Team Finest bring to bear.
Okay. Slowly aggressing here. Looking to catch out Twist. There's the opening. I'm going to double down, but it's trading. And so long as for Glory are being traded, honestly, they can allow this to be a fairly close round, bearing in mind that you had got 2 Magnums to farm. They're taken down. Keeping 3 players alive would be very comfortable.
I think it's, yeah, it was both the Mac 10s that fell, right? So, yep. All the rifles have survived. All the big boys are still here. Shocks makes a little bit of noise there as they drop on down. Baiting in a fight, trying to follow those tracers. But they might end up just saving the Deeg here. Oh, hello, the smoke's going to clear. Impulse at this range, who's going to win out the door? Oh, okay. Impulse has got different evasion, but Collins is like, oh, he's bad at aiming, I'll take the bullet.
Yep.
Baiting and switched, baby, and that's an AK saved as well. Lovely stuff, actually, from Shocks at the end. Team Finest still lose the round, though. And that can't feel too good. The odds have once again swung from our partners over at Pinnacle. For Glory are favoured.
Yes. Finest, they're not quite out. They're not in the woods yet, but certainly not out of them. As, bear in mind, kind of 11, 12, 6s are actually very easy to come back from. It's only about 2 or 3 successful buys before you are level pegging. But for full eco, I mean, shocks, bit of damage here would be nice. For glory, this should be a fairly quick round, though.
Shocks with the hero AK, but Pleston doesn't need no AK. The Deagle's just fine, baby. And Pleston's sort of turning into a Jabby-esque kind of player where you have a blow with Deagle, they're always guaranteed one. Close angle with the USP. Hard to survive the Mach 10 rush. But this is by no means guaranteed now for Glory. With Anarchist falling, it's a lot more secure, and Shocks still has their heirloom AK here to play with. And the bomb's leaving. We're going B, boys. You can enjoy looting this battlefield.
Now, Shocks, the same player who saved a weapon last round, once again, he's rewarded by being able to save again. 40 seconds to hold on to this AK, and luckily for Glory aren't going on too much of a hunt. I'm surprised Collins isn't kind of making his foray down CT. But for Shocks, just hides in Donut, Harry, and lays in wait.
Have yourself a snack. What is below the donut? Is that like a indoor pool with like apparently a cushion in it over on that side?
I think it was meant to be like some ancient fountain or like an ornament piece to start a bathhouse or something.
Ah, that makes sense.
I am really guessing here, so
I mean, I guess in the bathhouse. Also, thank you for production for the top-down view of
that's smooth.
of donut. Very nice. I'm trying to discern whether or not that is filled with water or if it's just like.
I think it's filled with water. It's filled with water.
Because there's like there's a infinite hole on one side of donut as well. I don't know where that goes.
Just it goes
down
to
into the void. The Aztec afterlife's down there.
Yep. The finest. Now, this is a make or break round. They win this, it's going to stay fairly close. They lose this, and all of a sudden they are in big trouble. With no money in the bank, this round almost counts as double for them.
Jumping over the spray. Welcome to the Olympics here on Ancient. Today we're going to be trying to dodge bullets. It's high fatality rate sport. Health and safety are not happy. Flash through the smoke, claiming the top of mid. However, it is fairly ostentatious as far as movements go. Shocks lies in wait here for Impulse and AVN. But these are two players you don't necessarily want to duel, alas. A pair of a headshot into a body shot. Takes down Impulse pretty quickly. And then there's the AK that's gathered as well. AVN waits for their moment. Plays for timing. Anarchist stuck on the other side of a smoke. Can't feel good. They know that this area no longer belongs to them. And Dimkey is keen to make sure that that is believed for Glory. Might run away with yet another one here. Still in the 2 versus 2 finest have to try this, even with their lacking money. Kreese and Twist coming in from diametrically opposed sides, but they don't really have a good way to clear the donut. One smoke. That's in the hands of Twist, and now it's on the floor. Now there's no smoke. This is going to make Donut a real problem in the post plant. Swapping over to the AK. Kreese knows that this one's a bust. He's banjaxed, mate. Time to hop off.
Just gets the hell out of there, understandably so. And as they... I mean, this is where things get really quite bad.
Oh, Collins grabbed an AWP on the way through. Thanks, Anarchist.
He's rich. That'll go straight to Impulse, who has been fairly consistent. He's not had, like, show-stopping performances like Anarchist, but he's been consistent, which is all you really need at the moment.
That is all you need. What you need, though, if you're in the audience and you're looking to get better at CS, is a higher refresh rate monitor from our friends over at MSI over 360 Hz. That is 360 refreshes of a screen per second to make sure you don't miss a single flick or a single peek. Check out MSI.
Nades deployed through the smoke to try and catch up the odd unsuspecting player. But Team Finest, they seem fairly dug in for the time being. Glory goes fairly aggressive on B, and they've actually trapped these players in, well, in candles now. This is actually a big problem for Finest.
This could be the beginning of the end here For Glory, yes, they're taking a bunch of damage, but getting onto the site is going to be difficult. AVN takes duel after duel, but Shocks on the second peak wins that one out. Now it's down to only Collins, surrounded on multiple sides. The info's been gathered. Kreese takes the peak. Kreese can't win it, but the reload. The second you touch the mag, they emerge from the midst. Team Finest pick up a 7th, and they finally get their way here on the CT side.
That is a proper make or break for them, and it just doesn't work out. Just does not work out. For now, there's I guess there's something to work with. They've sort of got a buy with them. Yeah, I mean, there's kind of money in the bank, but the odds about 5 to 1. I would actually put them a bit more one-sided than that. All it takes is for Glory to win a round and Finest to straight back to kind of square zero.
Here we go again. Team Finest fighting for their survival here in the winners rounds of the Swiss. Don't want to be 1-1. 2-0 is much more comfortable, but you would end up going up against even harder competition. For Glory, 2-0 for a team that is yet to build up a huge profile. Be a good place to play from.
Collins. Early, getting ready to push out to B. I mean, that so contact almost worked last round. Why not try it again? Why not try your luck? Team Finest running low on utility here. They've got 2 smokes and 0 aggressive util. So it's flashes and for aggression or retakers. All they have going for them right now. Kreese on a close angle in mid though, maybe able to support Twist.
Kreese patient as they wait. The swing is made, so there's Kreese taking the second peak. Anarchez joins the fray, and Anarchez isn't there for long before they destroy a member. And now for Glory, despite all their wins they've had on their T side, their money's not looking great. Test Anarchez at your own peril. Dimk falls, and with only a Galil here, Kinder might be able to grab the... You do not peek Anarchez again. What are you doing?
That's so brave. If you can like that. That's insanely brave.
The line between bravery and stupidity is a very fine one, Kremer.
Yes, and sometimes you do wobble from side to side. I want to highlight for Glory for a moment, which is AVN and Collins are having a fairly good game. AVN having an incredible game. Impulse and Kindo are a little bit lacking comparatively. Tech 9's armor, the odd Mac 10, the odd AK. It's not a pretty force sniper for Glory, but it may get the job done if they can get to this B site quickly. I'd be very unhappy if this isn't a rush.
The rush works out pretty well to begin with here, Kremer. Kreese has fallen. Dimk did take some damage, but who cares? It's only a Tech 9. Giving over the AKs to the players with the most health to work with here. Impulse looking to redeem themselves in this map. And of course Collins, a quick extinguish on that molly, which will burn away for a moment. Anarchez, very, very much in danger of being overrun. That smoke playing defensively for now. Twist continues to look this way. Anarchez strikes again. The blind is solid. Tech 9s removing members of Team Finest, and Kindo's like, yo, don't mind me. I'll take that. No bomb plant for you. Impulse sprayed through the smoke by Pleasant as they plant on default. Too basic a play. And Kindo here, with the AWP in hand, still opts to play for the Tech 9, which is interesting. And Collins just burns to death, too concerned with what happened in the duel. Team Finest, admittedly, they take a lot of damage for an eco there. But, I mean, it's not like the money on for Glory got much better.
You're absolutely right. Finest making a bit of a comeback here. There's a world where they do come back, actually. And for Glory, they have been very good at losing leads. Right now, I am still listing in favor of for Glory, but that's definitely a they're definitely fleeting hope. That's for sure.
Fleeting hope. Given over. Shocks. Takes down one and Pleasant on the crunch. Squeezed like a zit. And for Glory, Already this round looks like a bust, Grammar.
Absolutely does, Kindo. Gets ready for the flank. Unable to do so. As Collins continues the rotation through mid. Alone in the process. Spotted by one of the AKs. Does the odd bit of damage, but it's not enough. Team Finest with 10 now. And for Glory with a... Yes, they move to a bye, but we're now at a stage where if that bye fails, Team Finest take the lead. And there's a world where they just take the victory off the back of it with momentum. 4 rounds in a row now, looking to get that 5th on the bounce. And as you look at our partners at Pinnacle, the odds starting to really level out. For the best CSGO odds, all winners are welcome. Head over to pinnacle.com/welcome, where you can go sign up, give them the love they absolutely deserve, because Pinnacle right now are single-handedly supporting Tier 2 CS.
Use code CUP22 at sign up to let them know that we sent you.
Yeah.
Collins moving forward. With the MAC-10, Anarchy's overrun. I've had enough of your tyranny. I've had enough of your nonsense. Planting well off of default right here. That is quite the molly bounce that just occurred. Not sure if that one was entirely intentional. And while you're still dragging back the handle, Plesson's taken the peak for Glory. Catch Plesson reloading, but now only Impulse is up against the crowd. And for Finest, they've found their groove on the CT side here. For Glory have been stalled in their tracks.
Would you like to learn how to break the audio in CS?
Yes.
And I mean proper break it. This is something you can only really do on practice servers. You can't do it in matchmaking or face or anything like that. But if you no-clip, and if you throw a Molotov while... You know how you pull it back, and then it takes a moment to just bring it forward and throw it? If in the time between you commit to throwing it, if you then move out the map and the molly sort of half throws out the map, the audio will stay burning permanently. And you can then stack that audio indefinitely. So you can make a corner of the map just deafening. But all you need is a no-clip.
All you need is no clip.
Yeah, easier said than done, right? But
we'll see. Anarchez. With the AWP once more, but it is, again, a full buy, or at least as much a buy as can be mustered here for Glory. A lack of util, to be honest, Kramer. That is a very satisfying diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle.
that it is. Util continuing to be expended outside of mid here. While Greece desperately hopes for an opening.
Breeze turns away for a moment. An exchange of fire with Collins. But only damage done. No mortal wounds.
Greece continuing making his presence known in Candlestick, and it's happened 2 or 3 times now where the Glory have executed to B. They've trapped Kreese and Twist over in Cheetah, and they've just spammed it and got a kill regardless. I would love to see the Glory actually try and kill them. Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. Plesson is noted, executed by Kindo. Kreese has gone high here. They'll try to stop the plan, but Impulse braves it. Anarchez as they creep on forward. AVN is waiting. And now Kreese should be noted in this location as well. AVN does not want to take the peak. Does not wish to brave this. Knowing that For Glory desperately need to pick up a round somewhere. And 4 versus 2, the only way they lose this is if they int it all away. Exits are going to be an issue, though. Because Kreese can play interception here, and of course... We've got Shocks on the other side as well. Kreese falls on down. Shocks lies in wait. Might catch someone with a knife out here. Goodbye, Impulse. Goodbye, weapon. And goodbye, round.
I don't think For Glory care. Yeah, yes, it's going to hurt their economy, but they get that step closer to victory. They'll be more than happy to drop next round if it means getting that round. They finally break the Finest defense on B, as well as the Finest win spree. My question now becomes, was that the start of something? Impulse is able to suddenly wield it up now, having retrieved that from Anarchez. And now we actually get to see that duel between Impulse and Anarchez with the half reversed. The Glory, they call a timeout straight after that, and I really like the timeout usage.
Deciding to stop not only the win streak, but also the passage of play for a while. This will, however, give a little bit of time over to Finest as well to figure out how their B defense was broken and what they can do to shore it up. I mean, you like the tac timeouts, and you are smarter when it comes to these, but I'm not quite sure I would have liked to give Finest time to work out what just happened.
Here's the thing. That round was fairly default in terms of execution. It was Angels that won it for them. So that timeout it gives you a chance to calm down. The Finest, though, full buy, ready to wield.
Keep it simple. Keep it workable. Anakin's the first to fall. Impulse wins the AWP duel for what seems like the first time I've even met. They've been so diametrically opposed in terms of position so often that Impulse has rarely had the chance to meet Anakez in an AWP versus AWP. And that's a duel that means quite a bit. Same as this one, Shox has lost the mid control. Pleasant going to remain here to try and make sure that any rotations are at least slightly imperiled. And look at where Twisted ended up at the moment. They're in zero space, dude. They're off the map. Just because of how ancient, folks.
There's nothing they can do from here. There's genuinely nothing they can do from this position. As I mean, an exit would be nice, but something I want to highlight, Harry, is Finest don't have money. This could very well be over for them if even this M4 doesn't survive.
Oh, Impulse walking with the pistol. Hello, we're creeping now. Knowing that Impulse was going to knock themselves into that, Twist contemplates grabbing the AWP. And they will do so, which gives Anakez a little bit of bite in the next round, considering that Team Finest, they had the economy on a couple of players to be able to buy back into M4s. So keeping the AWP as a real threat is a big play here for Finest, but it cannot stop the fact that the Ultimate Partners at Pinnacle are reflecting this is match point for glory. They are guaranteed overtime now.
Ever so slightly one-sided on those odds. Ever so slightly. As for glory, now ready to close out the series, ready to go to the 2-0 bracket of the third Pinnacle Cup. As they slowly craft their way into this default, they are wary of the aggression of Shox. They know Team Finest don't have much money, and they know that Team Finest are going to try and push into them just to try and get that man advantage.
A 5-7 on one and MP9 on another. Twister's playing a close angle here. Hoping to try and catch someone out as they throw utility, maybe. But even the bomb at the moment, non-committed. For glory, taking it slow, like you said. Waiting to see how Team Finest will try and play the map control. Maybe using some speed. The 5-7 is camping the approach to A at the moment. And that is very dangerous up close. Oh.
I guess that's an opening, Harry. That gun can't be retrieved. It's too far away.
Dangerous up close versus dangerous from afar. Anakez using that saved AWP. I think it might actually be his anyway. Just exchanged between the players.
Wait, give that back.
I'm having that back, mate. My grandma gave me this AWP.
For glory, have managed to find a perfect wrapper. They found the perfect gap in the Team Finest defense.
Oh,
but it doesn't matter.
Pleasant found a perfect pixel gap to try and play through, though. Kreese, surely with the MP9, this one is not going to get too much more. The 5-7 with an execution. And Anakez with the finish. Man, that saved AWP. That created a lot of discord in For Glory's stratagem.
That absolutely did. And now with a tough position for Team Finest, they have, I mean, sure, they have a buy, but there's nothing left in the bank. There is nothing left in the bank. And even if they actually make this 13, they lose 4 players in the process. They're going to be on a worse buy next round regardless. There is the odd bit of money on Twist and Pleasant, but that's just not enough, particularly when you need to remember, utility is so crucial to Ancient.
Incredibly important. And Finest have it by the bucket load. Impulse desperately wants to get this kind of AWP duel again. Where previously they have bested Anakez. Collins loses a toe or two to VHE.
Molly. And just short of Cheetah. Glory have to be so passive here. Kreese slowly rotating around. That's Kindo to worry about. Peeks in. It's the shot of twists. Kreese accompanied by a flash.
Oh. Anarchist falls down as well. Now Dimke. An aggressive land grab trying to annex most of B. Oh. AVN takes down Pleasant. Twist just about clutches that out with 6 HP here. Dimke might still be able to get the plant. It's well covered by AVN. Now it's 1 versus 2 for the entirety of this series. Look at how low both the members of 4glory are. 8 bullets in the chamber for Twist. They expected where AVN was. No one has more than a breath worth of health between them. This needs to be played together for glory, and it is. The Serbian side continue making themselves really relevant here in Tier 2 CS in Europe.
Look at the hype they had after winning that. You know how much that means to 4glory. Understandably so. That was a hard-slogged war between these two teams. However, it is 4glory who emerge victorious. And I mean, yes, it gets close. I mean, yes, you've been asked questions about it being closed out in 2 for either side, but it doesn't matter because they were both able to give us a hell of a series.
And admittedly, Finest on their Ancient, they were a little bit less easily bullied by pistols, which was a slight improvement because we were getting very tilted at what was happening over on Mirage when it came to plays against the pistols from both 4glory and Finest. 4glory also tightened that up quite well and managed to take this away. Admittedly, we've got to bear in mind the context here. Finest, they only had Twist and I believe Pleasant for 13 days, but in the end, the score is all that matters. Now 4glory, they have to go up against Anonymo, Copenhagen Flames, or BLUEJAYS in the 3rd round of our Swiss, and we're going to see our friends over at Finest in the 1-1 miasma.
Accompanied by Mouse NXT, Skade, and Kova, as well as Mad Lions, Into the Breach, Endpoint, and GamerLegion. That is a stacked Swiss stage. It is going to be difficult for any team here to progress out to the playoffs, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to seeing how the rest of this tournament pans out. However, that's all we have for today. I've been your Castle Kramer 3. I've been joined by the wonderful Leg Day. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Until then, see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Withdrawing with AstroPay is really simple. Go to your favorite site and choose AstroPay as withdrawal method. Then type the amount that you want to withdraw, type your mobile number, and click on the Confirm button. Now, enter your wallet with your usual credentials and your money is available in your wallet now. Decide if you want to extract money or buy on your favorite sites. Get the app in your favorite store or visit us at www.astropay.com.